Welcome to the sleepy sailor's world, where plants whisper tales under a monsoon sky. Step into their quiet magic, where leaves sing and secrets bloom. Waiting for you, here, as time moves differently, slower, softer. You're entering a place where silence is not emptiness, but fullness. Where stillness does not mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening. Just quietly, just slowly, just deeply. Take a breath. Let your shoulders soften. Let your thoughts settle like leaves on still water. There's nothing to figure out right now. Just let yourself be here, in this moment, in this green world, where life unfolds in rhythms older than memory, all around you. Plants are living lives, both hidden and extraordinary. A tree stands tall in your mind, quiet, unmoving, or so it seems. But deep beneath the bark, water is rising, cell by cell. Leaves are capturing light, turning sunshine into sugar. Roots are reaching outward through the dark soil, sensing, selecting, responding. Everything about the tree is alive with purpose, only at a pace you may never have noticed before. This is the quiet intelligence of green life. You may have passed 1,000 leaves without noticing their turn toward the light. You may have walked through fields where grasses leaned just slightly with the wind, adjusting their angle by fractions to avoid too much sun, too much dryness. These are not accidents. They are choices, slow ones, subtle ones, made without words, without nerves, without haste. You're used to seeing intelligence in movement, a bird darting, a child laughing, a dog responding to your call. But here, intelligence looks like something else. It looks like a vine twisting carefully up a tree trunk, finding support. It looks like a plant folding its leaves at night to hold in warmth. It looks like a root splitting itself between paths, one to reach moisture, another to avoid salt. These are decisions, quiet ones, and they are being made all around you. You lie still now. Your breath deepens, You begin to sense what your eyes and ears cannot usually catch. The slow unfolding of a fern, the slight tilt of a sunflower's face toward the western light, the almost imperceptible closing of tiny pores on a leaf's underside. It's preserving water as night begins to fall. This is not inactivity. It is exquisite control. Imagine the life of a leaf, so thin, so soft, yet it knows when to open, when to close, how to breathe. Tiny pores called stomata. Its surface like stars. When the air is moist, they open wide. When it's dry, they close, adjusting with astonishing precision to the environment. It is awareness, not in the way your mind is aware, but in the way a flame is aware of wind, in the way water is aware of gravity. The leaf knows what it needs, and it responds nearby. A tree has dropped a seed, small, round, brown. It lies still in the soil beneath a cushion of leaves. It doesn't move, but inside, a chemical clock is ticking. The seed knows if it's warm enough, wet enough, safe enough. It waits, not passively, but attentively, And when the moment is right, it begins. First, a crack, a root pushing downward, seeking, then a shoot upward, pale at first, delicate, feeling its way toward the light. The seedling doesn't guess. It doesn't wander blindly. It knows the direction of gravity. It knows the feel of moisture. It follows a map written in its cells, refined by countless generations of slow remembering. And you, lying still, begin to feel part of it. Your own body responding to the rhythm of the green world. Your breath drawn in as the leaf exhales. Your warmth softened by the same sunlight that touched the stem. The same atoms, the same cycles, the same quiet web. You are not separate from this world. You are within it, made of it. Your bones once grew from food grown by roots. Your skin is softened by oils from seeds. The air in your lungs, even now, is rich with the gift of leaves. Let yourself drift. Let yourself soften into this awareness. Now imagine a forest, still and vast. It may seem like each tree stands alone, but beneath the soil, their roots weave and touch. Thin threads of fungi link them together, forming a hidden network, pulsing with exchange. Sugar moves, signals pass. One tree warns another of drought. Another shares excess nutrients with its kin. This is the green internet, not built by wires, but by hyphae, not run by machines, but by molecules, not programmed by code, but by time. And it works. Plants, once thought simple, are part of a living community more ancient than cities, more intricate than any we've made. A forest doesn't shout, it doesn't rush, but it remembers, it cooperates, it adjusts as you breathe in again. Something shifts in your perception. You no longer see a tree as furniture for birds or shade for benches. You see it as a living, listening, learning being. You imagine its growth, not in snapshots, but in flow, branches reaching, cells dividing, sugars forming, roots stretching, all of it happening right now. Just slowly. You no longer see flowers as decoration. You see them as communication, a language of scent and color, shape and timing. Their petals are messages. Their pollen is cargo. Their nectar is a deal. And even now, while you rest, these messages are traveling, carried by wind, by wings, by the touch of time. This world is not waiting to be noticed. But when you begin to notice, really notice, it opens to you, not with a shout, not with a flash, but with a whisper. A leaf turns slightly on a branch, not randomly. Tickly, it is measuring, adjusting to the angle of light. Too much sun, and it could dry. Too little, and it cannot feed itself. So it shifts by fractions of a degree. It does not rush. It does not guess. It listens. So do you. You're listening now with more than ears. You're listening with breath, with presence, with stillness, with a part of you that also knows how to grow in silence. And somewhere just beneath this stillness, beneath the leaves and stems and bark, the quiet darkness of the soil, a root begins to stir. You begin to see the green world not as scenery, not as a quiet background to your day, but as a living presence, quietly shaping the world around you, not as passive, but as purposeful, not slow, but intentional, not silent, but speaking in a language made of light and shape and time. This is a new kind of vision, one that listens with more than ears and watches with more than eyes. It comes when you slow down enough to match the rhythm of a leaf, the sway of a branch, the almost imperceptible tilt of a flower toward the morning sun. You are walking now softly, barefoot, through a quiet meadow. Each blade of grass beneath your feet leans just slightly, catching the light, breathing in carbon dioxide, exhaling oxygen. You feel it in your lungs. You feel it in your chest. Their breath becomes your breath. You notice the dandelions at your feet, golden orbs glowing in the sun. Their faces always turned east in the morning, as if watching the sun rise, not because they have eyes, but because they have memory of light, of warmth, of where it comes from and how to catch it. Best plants know the sky. They follow its shifts in light and temperature. They know the arc of the sun, the changes in day length, the invisible science of seasons. You've known it too, though perhaps without noticing. The pull to rest in winter, the lift of spring, the hunger for green in your eyes after too long inside. Look at the way a sunflower moves, not in jerks, not with rush, but slowly. Its face tracks the sun from east to west, then resets through the night to begin again. A motion without eyes, without muscles, but not without intention. This is phototropism, a plant's quiet instinct to follow light. Within its cells, molecules rearrange. Hormones gather on one side of the stem, making it grow slightly faster there. The plant leans, it reaches, it adapts. You see it now, a kind of intelligence, not based in brains, but in responsiveness, in patterns, in patience. Intelligence that waits, that senses through time, that answers not in seconds, but in hours, days, weeks. And it is not limited to light. Touch the tip of a climbing vine and it curls slightly, gently. That's thigmotropism, its response to contact. Trigger that tells the vine it has found something it can climb. Circles, holds on. It changes direction based on something as simple as a gentle touch. Plants feel gravity, too. Their roots always grow downward, no matter how you turn the seed. The tip of a root contains special cells filled with starch, which settle downward, inside the cell like tiny compasses, showing the way. This is how roots know down from up, even in the dark, even in silence. Now imagine the inside of a plant. You cannot see it from the outside, but within the stem there are rivers. Water moves upward in xylem, drawn by the pool of evaporation from the leaves. It's a steady lift, cell by cell, no pump, no pressure, just the magic of cohesion, adhesion, tension. This is how a tree drinks. And then there's the phloem, a downward flow of sugar and nutrients. Energy gathered from the sun, converted in the leaves, sent where it's needed. New roots, growing tips, flowers, fruits. It's not random. The plant knows. The plant chooses. Every movement, every shift is a kind of decision. A cactus swells with water after a rare desert rain. It stores the gift for months, its spines shading the sun. A moss closes its pores in dry wind and opens them again with the first mist. A tree sends extra sugar to a damaged branch to help it heal. These are not blind reactions. They are slow, elegant strategies developed over millennia. And now, as you walk through this meadow, you begin to notice the signals, the slight change in leaf angle, the silvery underside revealed when wind passes, the tiny hairs on a stem that discourage grazing mouths, the faint scent released when a leaf is torn, warning nearby plants, inviting help. Plants speak, not in sound, but in chemicals, in posture, in form. A bent leaf, a shaded stem, a flower blooming early or late or not at all. You begin to read them like a language. In the flowers, though, the flowers, not decorations, but invitations. Designed not just for beauty, but for pollinators. Cicada holds ultraviolet lines that guide bees to its center. Night blooming jasmine, releases perfume when moths are most active. A red hibiscus attracts birds with its vivid color and deep nectar tube. You are no longer seeing plants as fixed objects. They are alive, alert, choosing. They respond to wind, to rain, to hunger, to touch. They have senses, not eyes or ears or tongues, but receptors that know heat, cold, pressure, scent, gravity, and time. And in this new way of seeing, you begin to understand that your own body is not so different. You, too, have roots, familial, emotional, biological. You, too, reach toward light. You lean toward warmth. You react to touch, to pressure, to change. You grow. The green world is not a stranger. It is a mirror. You rest now beside a birch tree. Its bark is pale and papery, peeling in curls. Its light filters through its small, delicate leaves. The air around you is cool, fresh with the scent of chlorophyll and earth. You close your eyes, but the vision continues. You see the spiral of a leaf arrangement designed to capture maximum light. You see the way a tree's crown thins at the top to let light through two lower branches. You see the fractal pattern of veins in a leaf like rivers in a delta, like neurons in your mind. Everywhere, form follows function. Elegance follows need. This is what nature does. It doesn't waste. It doesn't rush. It finds what works and repeats it. Slowly, gently, again and again. And now, in this slowed state of seeing, you feel yourself shift. You're not just walking through a plant world. You're walking with it. Your breath joins the breath of leaves. Your footsteps echo the quiet rise of stems. Your heart slows. Your mind softens. You begin to trust the pace of green dot. The green world doesn't push. It doesn't demand. It invites. And the invitation is simple. Notice. Be still. Pay attention. Grow slowly. Reach toward light. And somewhere, just beyond the tall stems of grass, in the shadow of root and trunk, something deeper waits to reveal itself. Beneath your resting body lies a world even quieter, even older, even more alive than the forest floor. It is the world of soil, of humus, of root and stone and thread. You feel it now, not just beneath you, but around you, holding you gently like a cradle made of time. This is not dead dirt. This is living earth. You imagine yourself sinking into it, slowly, peacefully, not to disappear, but to become aware. Below the moss, below the fallen leaves, there is movement in it, deliberate movement. A seed swells and splits. A root presses gently forward. A grain of sand shifts beside a tunnel made by a beetle. A fungus extends a single cell outward, searching, sensing, touching the root of a tree. The air is different here, cooler, rich with the scent of minerals and ancient decay, but also filled with life, microscopic life, in numbers so vast they cannot be counted. A teaspoon of healthy soil may hold more living organisms than all the people on Earth. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, creatures so small they go unseen, but so active they shape the very chemistry of the planet. And at the center of it all, the roots, they do not wander, they do not drift, they choose. A root tip is one of the most sensitive parts of a plant. It feels its way through darkness, avoiding rocks, curling around obstacles, reaching always toward water, toward nutrients, toward companionship. You picture one now, pale, thin, reaching forward in the dark. The tip is covered in tiny cells that sense moisture and gravity and texture. Behind it, root hairs branch outward, multiplying the surface area, collecting minerals and water with astonishing efficiency. Every drop matters. Every direction has meaning, but the root does not grow alone. Thread-like fungi, called mycorrhizae, attach to it not as parasites, but as partners. The fungi extend far beyond the reach of the root, forming a vast network that connects one plant to another, tree to tree, field to forest, in return for sugars from the plant. The fungi deliver minerals from distant places, phosphorus, nitrogen, zinc, knowledge. Yes, knowledge, because through these networks, plants send more than food. They send messages. One tree, under attack by pests, can alert others. A mother tree can nourish her offspring through these underground threads. Even when her leaves have fallen, the earth holds this network with care, a slow pulse of life. Invisible but constant, you feel your breath slow again, in rhythm with the soil. There is a peace in this dark world. Not absence, but stillness. Not silence, but concentration. The green world begins here. After all, life above depends on what happens below. Tree cannot grow unless its roots find water, find space, find community. A flower cannot bloom unless its seed finds the right soil. Growth is not only upward, it begins with going down. You feel that in your own body, too. The need for grounding, the comfort of contact, the steadiness that comes from being held. You are not floating. You are not alone. You are supported all around you, in your imagination, The underground web stretches outward, from seedling to sapling, from bush to tree. It is not chaos. It is communication. Even fallen leaves, once dry and forgotten, are part of the cycle. They break down into humus, into carbon, into food for fungi and beetles and worms. Each layer becomes the next. Each death becomes nourishment. The system wastes nothing, and even now, as you rest in this imagined forest, your body is in quiet conversation with the world. Your skin feels the temperature. Your breath tastes the damp. Your heartbeat echoes a rhythm older than thought. There is wisdom here, a wisdom of stillness, a wisdom of layers. You feel it begin to sink into you. Not everything must be quick. Not everything must be visible. Some things take time. Some things grow best in the dark. The soil teaches this. So does the seed. A seed carries within it the memory of the plant it might become, the shape of the leaves, the stretch of the stem, the color of the petals. All of that is folded into something small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. But it does not open immediately. It waits. It listens for moisture, for warmth, for the right moment. Only then does it begin. Slowly, carefully, it sends a root. Downward first, anchoring, feeding, testing. Then, and only then, does it send a shoot upward, risking the light. You understand that now, how wise it is to begin in darkness. How brave it is to reach for the sun. You think of all the seeds you've passed without noticing, caught in the tread of a shoe, sleeping beneath snow, clinging to the fur of an animal, hiding in the crack of a sidewalk, all waiting, all dreaming of green dot, and above you now, the forest stirs. The trees, held by this same earth, begin to sway, gently in a breeze. Their leaves whisper, their branches flex. Their trunks remain steady, because they are rooted. So are you. You let that feeling settle into your body. You are rooted. Even when you drift into sleep, your breath stays tethered to the green world. Even when your thoughts fade into dreams, your heart stays connected to the living earth. You are not separate from it. You are part of it, and as you rest, you feel something new begin to rise. Not just the breath, not just the heartbeat, but a question. If the roots are alive, seeking, sensing, whispering through soil, then what are they connected to? What lives in the dark beneath our feet? And what stories do the roots carry in silence? Beneath your feet, hidden from the eye, an entire world lives in silence. It's not silent because it lacks life, but silent because it speaks in a language slower than sound. You are entering that world now, where roots live and grow, and listen beneath the soil. Close your eyes. Let yourself sink downward, not in body, but in imagination. Drift past the fallen leaves, past the crumbling bark, past the thin roots of grass. Go deeper, where the air smells of damp earth and time. Here, roots stretch in every direction, reaching, splitting, exploring, feeding. We are quiet travelers. In a world of darkness, you begin to see them, thin, pale, smooth, or hair-fine. Some spread out, shallow and wide, like the lace of a snowflake. Others go deep, driving down into the soil in search of water far below. Every plant has its own pattern, its own underground map, and every route, no matter how small, is alive with awareness. The tip of a route is soft, sensitive, wrapped in a thin layer of cells called the root cap. That tiny structure protects the growing point and helps it navigate. The root doesn't simply grow in any direction. It tests, it senses, it decides. It avoids the dry, pushes toward the moist, turns away from obstacles, seeks out openings. This is not guesswork. It is guided growth. As you rest here in this imagined underground, you begin to sense what the root senses. The firmness of soil, the subtle gradient of water, closeness of another root. The root doesn't see, but it knows. It doesn't hear, but it listens to pressure, to vibration, to chemical cues in the soil. The root hairs, tiny extensions from the root surface, reach into spaces too small for the root itself to enter. They slip between grains of sand and cling to particles of clay. They take in minerals, water, the very building blocks of life. A single root hair may live only a few days, but in that time, it nourishes the whole plant. And the root does not grow alone. Around it swarm bacteria, fungi, and countless other organisms. Some compete, some threaten, but many cooperate. Certain bacteria fix nitrogen, transforming the air's most abundant element into a form plants can use. Without them, the plant would starve. Okay? And so would we. Roots know how to welcome the right guests. They release chemical signals, tiny invitations into the soil. Come closer, they whisper. Bring nitrogen. Bring phosphorus. I will feed you sugar. In return, a mutual exchange, a promise kept in silence. Mycorrhizal fungi are among the most intimate partners of the plant world. Their threads, called hyphae, connect not just one route, but many. They form bridges, invisible highways through the soil. Through them, trees and grasses, flowers and shrubs, all speak in molecular language. They share food. They send warnings. They offer help. You lie still and imagine this web, delicate yet vast, more complex than any machine. It pulses with life and meaning. And though your eyes cannot see it, your body begins to feel its presence. A world not beneath you, but beneath everything, you feel the ancientness of it. Roots have been growing through soil for hundreds of millions of years, before flowers, before birds, before any mammal ever walked the earth. Roots shaped the planet. They held soil in place, made room for water, formed the land as we know it. They made life on land possible, and yet they remain unseen. The root is the quiet foundation of every plant, feeding it, cankering it. When storms blow, it is the root that holds fast. When drought comes, it is the root that searches deeper. When fire passes, it is the root that often survives, waiting to sprout again. The surface dies back. The underground lives on now. Imagine a forest after fire, charred trunks, ash on the wind, silence. But beneath the blackened soil, roots lie sleeping, waiting, holding life in reserve. And when the first rain comes, green returns, not from the sky, but from the soil. From roots that never stop listening. You begin to see roots not just as physical things, but as memory, persistence, hope. You think of your own roots, where you come from, what grounds you, what sustains you when the outer world changes. Like the tree, your strength often lies unseen. Like the plant, you grow where you are nourished. Like the root, you may bend around obstacles, but you still reach. There is wisdom here. Not the kind shouted in words, but the kind whispered in patience. The root doesn't rush, it doesn't leap, proceeds with care, exploring, testing, withdrawing, advancing. It learns, it remembers, it adapts, not in seconds, but in seasons, and even in stillness, it works. Every cell in the root is alive with purpose. Mitochondria convert sugars into energy, transport proteins, carry nutrients. The root grows at its tip, pushing outward, while older cells behind it begin to specialize, becoming part of the inner transport system that will carry water upward through the stem. This system, the xylem and phloem, begins here, deep. In the root, water taken from the soil travels upward, cell by cell, drawn by the pull of evaporation at the leaves. It's a quiet lift, like a river flowing in reverse. No pump, no push, just physics, perfected by plants and from the leaves. Sugar flows back down through the phloem to feed the roots. A circle, a balance, giving and receiving. Not all at once, not all the time, but just enough. Roots feed the tree. The tree feeds the roots. You feel the rhythm in your own breath, the inhale and the exhale, the giving and the taking. It's a quiet cycle that never stops. And in this silence, something stirs. Not the plants this time, but the soil itself. A beetle digs a tunnel. A worm aerates the ground. A bacterial colony divides. A fungal thread extends. The soil is not just a place where life happens. It is alive, and roots are its fingertips. They touch everything. They sense everything. And through them, the plant feels its place in the world. You begin to understand that no tree stands alone. No flower grows in isolation. Even the most solitary blade of grass is part of something larger, something rooted. And as you rest in this thought, held gently by this living silence, you begin to wonder if this is what happens in the dark beneath the surface. What other secrets do roots carry, hidden in the soil's embrace? The deeper you go into the soil's hidden world, the more clearly you begin to sense that roots do not simply grow. They listen, not with ears, but with presence, not for sound, but for signals. Their entire being is tuned to the hum of the earth, to the microscopic and molecular messages drifting beneath the surface. Imagine now that you are not lying above the soil, but inside it, a part of the network. Your awareness is stretched, thin and long, like a fine root hair reaching into a pocket of cool moisture. Around you, silence, but not emptiness. Every inch of soil speaks in chemical syllables. A neighboring plant is nearby, its roots winding near your own. You don't touch, not yet, but you can sense it. The molecules in the soil have changed. The signature is different. The root beside you is releasing a message, tiny fragments of information, carried by water, absorbed by cell walls. Roots listen this way all the time. They detect chemical gradients, tiny shifts in mineral concentrations. They recognize the difference between kin and stranger. A plant may reduce its own root growth if surrounded by relatives, conserving space and sharing resources. But among strangers, its roots grow more aggressively, claiming territory. Roots are not just seeking water and nutrients. They're seeking relationship, and through those relationships, they shape their environment. A root may release acids to unlock bound nutrients in the soil. It may release sugars to feed helpful microbes. It may even release compounds that suppress the growth of competitors. This is not warfare. It is gardening, underground, strategic, deliberate. You can feel it now, the quiet tension between competition and cooperation, between solitude and communion. Plants don't isolate by choice. They are embedded in a living web, and their roots are always in conversation with that web. Some of that conversation is protective. Imagine a young seedling under attack, above ground, a caterpillar chewing its leaves, breaking cells, triggering chemical alarms. But even before you see the damage, the roots already know. Signals travel downward through the plant's internal pathways, alerting the underground to prepare. And sometimes that message is passed on through mycorrhizal connections, from root to root, from plant to plant. A tree that is untouched might still begin to produce defensive chemicals, bitter-tasting compounds to deter grazers, simply because a neighbor's roots whispered the warning through the fungal network. This is not fiction. This is how forests speak. Roots listen not only to danger, but to season, to temperature, to rhythm. As spring begins, they sense the warming of soil, the longer days. They begin to shift their growth, to prepare the plant above for blooming, for fruiting, for flowering. And if conditions are harsh, too dry, too cold, too crowded, they pause, they wait, they listen harder. You too know this rhythm. You sense when something around you has changed, even before your mind catches up. Your body tenses before you know why. Your mood shifts with the light. Like a root, you are listening, even when you are still. Now, picture a desert plant, rooted in sand. Rain falls just once or twice a year, but when it does, the roots grow fast, within hours, chasing the fleeting moisture. It's as if they were waiting, prepared, listening for that single signal that says, now. Or picture a mangrove. Its roots deep in salty mud. 5. It filters salt, expels excess, lifts water through complex inner channels. Its roots know the balance between fresh and salt and adjust in real time. Each root is a decision maker. Each tip is an antenna. Each branching path is a possibility tested. And always, always, the route is learning. Not with memory like yours, but with structural memory. The path the root takes leaves a mark. Soil is compressed. Microbes shift. Future growth is influenced. The plant builds its memory into the earth, and the soil remembers too. When a plant grows in a place, its root exudates, the chemicals it releases shape the microbial community around it. Even after the plant is gone, those microbes remain. There inherits a changed world. Some thrive, some struggle. This is called soil legacy. It's real, it's powerful. Roots are not just drawing from the soil, they are writing into it. As you rest deeper into this vision, you begin to notice something else. Not all roots are below the ground. Some rise into the air: mangrove, stilt roots, orchid, aerial roots, banyan roots that reach from branch to earth like slow rain. Roots are not defined by direction. They are defined by connection, and what they connect to that matters most. A seed in poor soil may sprout, but without the right root partnerships, it will fail. A sapling in rich earth may still struggle if its roots are damaged. A tree with deep, well-connected roots can weather drought, wind, even fire. Roots determine resilience, and resilience, you realize, is not always visible from above. A tree may look strong, but if its roots are shallow, it is vulnerable. Another may look twisted or scarred, but with deep roots, it stands firm. You think of your own life. What anchors you? What do you send down into the world to feel supported? What quiet messages do you receive from family, from memory, from the places that shaped you? You are not so different from a plant. You, too, stretch toward what you need. You, too, send quiet signals and receive them. You respond to warmth, to space, to touch. You know when to grow. You know when to hold back. Somewhere inside you, even in stillness, you are always listening. And now you are listening with new ears, root ears, the part of you that hears, not through sound, but through soil, through pressure, through presence. You are aware of the world not as noise, but as subtle vibration. And through this vibration, something stirs again. You sense the vastness of the underground web, how one plant can warn another, how a dying root may feed the life of a neighbor, how an ancient tree may support its saplings, not with sunlight, but with sugar passed through soil. You realize that underground, the forest is not many. It is one, and if this is true, that roots listen, speak, share, remember, then the earth itself is more alive, more connected, more intelligent than you ever imagined. You rest in that truth, and gently, from below, a quiet question rises into your thoughts. If roots are the sensing organs of the earth, what might be flowing through them, between them, in the silence? Not just water, not just food, but maybe a kind of underground knowing. Imagine you are drifting through this underground world, not as an observer, but as part of it, a thread in the fabric, a node in the network. You are no longer above the soil, watching. You are within the living matrix of roots, feeling your way along the pathways of connection that lie beneath every forest, meadow, and garden. This is the architecture of connection, built slowly, grown patiently, designed not by blueprints or machines, but by instinct, experience, and time. It is vast, it's invisible, it's incredibly alive. Let yourself feel the shape of it. A seed falls. Its root pushes downward. The first thread extends. then branches. Each fork is a choice, each tip a question. Over days and weeks, the root system becomes more than a single line. It becomes a web, a network, a foundation that holds not just the plant upright, but its entire existence. And now imagine thousands of these networks all around, beneath the surface, touching, overlapping, weaving together. Some roots reach out, others receive, circle past each other, giving space. Others fuse together, sharing channels. Nothing is wasted. Every contact is an opportunity. You are moving through this network now, not walking, not floating, but pulsing like a signal traveling from one root to another. You feel how sugar moves down from the leaves, transformed from light, feeding the deepest parts of the plant. You feel how water rises in return, drawn up by invisible pull. You feel how a message, a chemical scent, moves laterally, alerting others to change. There is order here, but not the kind of order we build with bricks or steel. It is organic. Order, fluid structure. Not rigid, but responsive. Not perfect, but adaptive. Each root system forms its own architecture, and yet, when viewed together, they compose a larger design, a city beneath the soil, built without architects, thriving without sight. Some roots grow thick and woody, anchoring the plant. Others stay thin and flexible, exploring. Some remain shallow, gathering rainwater. Others tunnel deep, seeking aquifers that do not rise to the surface. Each one plays a role. Each one knows what it must do, and within this network, cooperation. Blooms.you now drift toward the fungal threads, the mycorrhizal web, and these filaments, finer than the finest hair, extend far beyond what roots can reach. Where a root touches a grain of soil, the fungus touches hundreds. It expands the plant's senses. It becomes an extension of its will. But the fungus is not a servant. It is a partner. In exchange for sugar from the plant, the fungus delivers phosphorus, nitrogen, water. But it also delivers something else, connection. It forms bridges between different plants, even those of different species. Through these bridges, trees and grasses and wildflowers exchange more than nutrients. They share information. They share life. This is sometimes called the wood wide web. But it is older, deeper, more sacred than any digital network. There are no wires, no screens, only trust, grown from millions of years of coevolution. And what flows through these fungal links? Signals of stress, warnings of drought, alerts when insects attack. Even surplus carbon pass from tree to tree, from those that have plenty to those that have little. Older trees, rich with leaves and sunlight, may funnel food to young saplings in the shadows. This generosity is not accidental. It is built into the network, and you wonder, how does a plant decide to give? How does it know what another needs? The answer is not consciousness as we understand it. Okay? It is responsiveness. It is a chemical compassion. Okay? It is a structural empathy that comes from being rooted together. You begin to realize that a forest is not made of separate trees. Okay? It is made of relationships, and the architecture of roots makes those relationships possible. Look now at the patterns in the soil. They are not random. They spiral. They mirror. They balance. In dry places, roots form wide, shallow webs to catch fleeting water. In rocky soil, they split and angle, like fingers filling for purchase. In flood-prone zones, they grow upward, into the air, breathing roots, reaching for oxygen. Each plant designs itself to match its place, even in deserts where life seems scarce. The root networks are dense, clever, overlapping. A cactus may seem solitary above ground, but its roots form a flat, wide disc, ready to drink the rare rains in minutes. Beneath the sand, neighbors touch, briefly, silently. Okay? And in that touch, they share. The beauty of this architecture is not in its symmetry, but in its intelligence. Every route is both sensor and builder. It does not wait to be told. It feels and it acts. Now look beneath a mountain forest. The roots here must cling to steep, shifting ground. They interlace like braided ropes, holding each other and the earth in place. They prevent landslides, slow erosion, catch snowmelt. Without the roots, the mountain would crumble. And still, you cannot see them. Only their effects. The slope. That doesn't collapse. The stream that stays clear. The wildflower that grows beside a tall pine. Its needs met, not by its own roots alone, but by the network underground. This is design without designer. Structure without blueprints. Catcher that grows itself. And within this architecture, time becomes a different thing. Roots grow slowly. They do not rush. They take months, years, even decades to reach their full shape. But once formed, a root system can last a lifetime. Some trees have root systems that are thousands of years old, clones of themselves, spreading outward, living on even as individual trunks fall and rot. In Utah, a stand of aspen trees called pando is believed to be one of the largest and oldest living organisms on Earth. 40,000 trunks, one root system, spanning over 100 acres, estimated to be more than 80,000 years old. Each tree you see is just one expression of a single ancient root. This is not metaphor. This is fact. And so, you wonder if plants are so deeply connected underground. What does it mean to say one is separate from another if their roots touch, feed, warn, and share? Where does one end and the other begin? Maybe the truth is they don't. Maybe individuality is only a surface illusion. And beneath it all, we are part of something collective, something living together. You, too, are part of networks. Your body is made of trillions of cells, cooperating without needing to know why. Your mind is shaped by relationships, by family, by shared stories. You live not just as one person, but as part of a web of people, of memories, of places you've never left behind. And so, as you lie here, imagining the roots below, you feel your own architecture of connection. Not visible, not loud, but deep and real. The roots remind you of something gentle. That connection is not always about speed or noise or constant motion. Sometimes it is about stillness, about being in the same soil, about sending something, unseen, and trusting it will be felt. As the night deepens, you drift further into that rooted calm. The soil is dark. The air is quiet. The world above is far away. And from this place of connection, another question rises, soft, unhurried. If roots build the foundation for all plant life, then what rises above the stems, the structures, what do they carry upward from these silent depths? From the deep stillness of the soil, something rises slowly, patiently. It is not a rush or a leap. It is a reaching, deliberate, gentle, upward. This is the stem, the quiet column of life that lifts a plant from darkness into light. Imagine now that you are this stem. Not the leaves, not the flower, not the fruit, just the bridge, slender spine that carries water upward and sugar downward, that holds everything in place while letting everything flow. You are born from the root, a small swelling that pushes above the soil. You break through, not with force, but with persistence. Cell by cell, millimeter by millimeter, you rise. You are not searching for light. You already know where it is, and so you grow. Your surface is smooth but layered. Beneath your skin, bundles of tubes begin to form. One set, the xylem, carries water from the roots up to the leaves. The other, the phloem, carries sugar from the leaves down to the roots. These tubes are not random. They are precise, parallel, purposeful. You are not hollow, though it may feel that way. You are filled with rhythm. Every drop of water that moves upward, pulled by evaporation, lifted by cohesion, is part of your quiet work. Betting every grain of sugar that moves downward, feeding the root, the bud. The stem itself is part of your giving. You are not the source, but you are the way. Around you, layers build. A tough outer skin for protection, a soft middle for support. A hidden inner layer where growth happens. This inner layer is called the cambium, a ring of dividing cells that slowly adds thickness to your body. It doesn't rush, doesn't boast. It adds layer by layer, year by year. And so, like a tree, you grow rings. Each ring holds a memory of wet years, of dry years, of fires survived and storms endured. You do not remember with a brain. You remember with your body and your job. Your only job is to hold the plant together. You carry the leaves upward so they can see the sun. You anchor the buds where flowers will grow. You support the fruit when it ripens. You keep the plant from falling. And though you stand still, your insides are always moving. Imagine this now. Water rising through narrow tubes, pulled upward by a force with no name. Sugar flowing downward, drifting cell by cell. Its hormones traveling like messengers, telling the leaves when to open, the buds when to bloom, the roots when to branch. You are a highway of life, a column of messages, a bridge between earth and sky. Some stems are tall, like the trunks of redwoods. Others are short and hidden, like the stalks of moss. Some are soft and green. Others are woody and brown. Some twist, some creep. Some store water, some store starch. Some grow underground. But all stems share one purpose: connection. You connect the source to the seeker, the root to the leaf, the shadow to the sun, and in that connection, something powerful happens. Life is lifted, nourishment flows, form takes shape. You begin to see how the stem is not just a support, it is a sculptor. It decides how tall the plant will grow, how wide, how many branches, where the leaves will emerge, where the buds will form. It decides when to bend, when to straighten, when to divide, not consciously, not with plans or ideas, but with feedback, with rhythm, with deep, slow intelligence. You imagine now the growing tip of the stem, a place called the apical meristem. It is just a cluster of cells, but it is sacred. It is the fountain of growth. From it, all new tissues arise. It is protected, nourished, and sensitive. When light touches it, it responds. When wind pushes it, it adapts. When the plant is damaged, it decides whether to stop or to try again. This tip, its meristem, is the reason you exist. It divides, it differentiates, it builds all around you in the green world. Its quiet building happens every moment. A vine curls around a branch, guided by touch. Sunflower stem bends toward the morning sun, guided by light. A cactus grows thick and strong, guided by dryness. Bamboo shoot races upward in the season, guided by rain. The stem is a record of all these choices. It shows where the plant has been, shapes where the plant will go, and in that shaping, something else emerges. Beauty. You look at a tree not because of its roots, though they are vast, not because of its leaves, though they are many, but because of its form, silhouette, its poise. That form is the gift of the stem. It lifts life into view. It is the artist's brushstroke, the dancer's line, the architect's spine, and yet it asks for nothing. It is content to be unseen, and as you imagine the plant growing taller, cell by cell, day by day, you remember your own spine. It's the way it lifts your head, holds your breath, carries your heart. It, too, works silently. It, too, gives structure without seeking praise. There is something sacred about the unseen support, and the stem, though humble, is holy in this way. Now, imagine the night falling. The plant stills, the air cools. The leaves fold slightly inward, but the stem remains steady, poised, unwavering. Even in darkness, it continues to work, holding, circulating, waiting, not. Its all strength is loud. Some strength is the willingness to stand, and so you breathe in rhythm with the plant. You feel yourself rooted below, lifted above. You feel yourself stretched between darkness and light. You are not pulled apart. You are held together, and as your mind begins to settle into this image of stems rising in silence, of life supported from within, you feel the question begin to form, gentle as dew. If the stem lifts and connects and carries, then what does it raise into the light? What opens next? What reaches out to catch the sky? Now, shift your awareness from the lifting, vertical grace of the stem and move inward into the intricate interior where the unseen flow takes place. Within the stem's body lies a world of channels, tissues, and subtle systems, each one carefully arranged, quietly humming with life. These are the plant's circulatory pathways, and they speak not in sound, but in patterns. Close your eyes again. Imagine moving through these inner corridors, the long tubes of xylem, the tender veins of phloem. You are no longer a stem looking outward. You are part of the stream within, upward. The xylem pulls water and dissolved minerals from the roots. It is a one-way journey, yet not rushed. There is no heart, no engine. Instead, the power of cohesion, the attraction between water molecules, draws one drop after another into a slow, climbing chain. Evaporation from the leaves creates a pool, like breath leaving the body. It is called transpiration, and it drives a silent current. The xylem cells are hollow long tubes, dead by the time they function. Dead. But this death is not failure. It is a gift. These empty vessels become passageways, open and strong. Their cell walls are reinforced with lignin, a tough compound that makes wood firm and stiff. They form the plant's scaffolding. Think it's plumbing all at once. You drift upward with the water through the center of a sunflower stem or along the spiral of a climbing vine. You feel the minerals traveling with you, nitrogen, potassium, calcium, each one needed, each one chosen. This is nourishment, but also construction. These minerals build cells, strengthen tissues, trigger responses, and while the xylem moves upward, the flow carries its own slow cargo downward and outward. Sugar, made in the leaves from sunlight and air, it flows in every direction, to the roots, to the buds, to the growing tips. Where it is needed, it is sent. Unlike the xylem, the phloem is alive. Its companion cells guide the way, regulate movement, protect against intrusion. The sugar moves under pressure from areas of high concentration to low. It's called translocation. And though the term sounds mechanical, the process feels gentle, adrift with purpose. This dual movement, water up, sugar down, defines the stem's rhythm. It is not fast, but it is constant. Even in sleep, the flow continues. Even in drought, it adjusts. You begin to notice how the arrangement of these vessels shapes the plant's form. In a dicot stem, like a rose or oak, the xylem and phloem form rings, with a cambium between. As the plant grows, the cambium adds new layers. Year after year, the rings widen, telling time in silence. In a monocot stem, like grasses or lilies, the vessels scatter throughout. There is no ring, no cambium. Growth is not outwards, but upwards. Strength is found in flexibility. The stem's patterns mirror its life. A tree, solid and long-lived, builds a sturdy, layered stem. A grass, light and quick, builds for speed. One lasts centuries. The other dances in the wind, and in between, infinite variations. Some stems become hollow, like bamboo. Others thicken with storage, like sugarcane. Some wrap around other plants, like morning glory or wisteria. Their structure borrowed, not grown. Some never rise at all, remaining underground, still. The pattern holds. Connection, movement, adaptation. You begin to sense how even branching is a language of the stem, where a node forms, where a bud develops, where a side shoot emerges. These choices are not random. They follow a code. Genes and hormones guide the placement. The pattern is often spiral, following a rule of growth called phyllotaxis. Leaves emerge at precise angles to capture the most light. Branches extend without shading each other. This is geometry, yes, but also grace. And through this geometry, the plant adapts. In the sun, stems grow thicker. In the shade, they grow longer. In wind, they grow stronger. In stillness, they stretch slowly, spreading wide. Every stem is a compromise between stability and stretch, between speed and strength. And the shape of the stem changes not only how a plant grows, but how it lives with others. In a crowded forest, a thin, tall stem helps a tree reach the canopy. In a desert, a thick, short stem stores water. In a meadow, a stem that bends but doesn't break survives the storms. Plants don't move to find safety. Their stems are their decision. And sometimes the stem becomes something else entirely. A runner, like those on strawberries, is a stem that grows sideways, rooting wherever it touches. A rhizome, like in ginger, is a stem that grows underground. A tuber, like a potato, is a stem swollen with starch. Even a cactus, that green column, is a stem doing double duty, supporting, storing, and photosynthesizing, all at once. The stem is not limited by form. It transforms. It listens to the needs of the plant, and it answers by bending, branching, thickening, shrinking, changing direction. It is not passive. It is deeply aware. And in that awareness, stem holds space for life to flourish. You begin to realize that while the roots hold the past, and the leaves hold the present moment, taking in sun, giving out air, it is the stem that links the two. It holds memory and possibility. It allows the plant to grow, to change, to respond. It does not choose where it begins, but it decides, moment by moment, how to rise. And as you imagine this upward, inward architecture, the delicate lines of transport, the branching geometry, the ever-shifting form, you begin to wonder if the stem lifts and shapes and sends, waits at its edge. What part of the plant finally reaches outward, not just to grow, but to gather? What unfolds to drink the sky? Now, come even closer. Not to the outward rise of the stem or its hidden pathways, but to its stillness. Not the stillness of emptiness, but of quiet strength. It's the kind of strength that stands without shouting, that holds without trembling, that adapts without leaving. Here, in the third rhythm of the stem, we enter its essence. Support. To stand is no small thing. To remain upright in wind, in rain, in heat, in the long pressure of time. This is the quiet labor of stems. Not dramatic, not fast, but enduring. Feel it now. The weight a stem holds, the gathering leaves, the opening flowers, the swelling fruit, the world above. The stem does not strain. It balances. It bends. It remains. Its structure, whether woody or herbaceous, is designed for this purpose: to resist gravity, to yield just enough, to flex, but not to fall. This is not rigidity. It is resilience. Woody stems, the trunks of trees, the limbs of shrubs, are built in rings. Year after year, the cambium adds layers of xylem to the inside, phloem to the outside. Over time, the inner xylem hardens into heartwood, strong, dark, no longer alive, but vital for strength. Around it, sapwood still carries water. The phloem, delicate and thin, moves sugar. And wrapping all of it is bark, the protective skin, scarred and weathered, yet always growing. These scars matter. They tell the story of the plant's life. A branch lost in wind, a season of frost, an insect's bite, a fire survived. Each wound becomes part of the body, not hidden, but woven in. In this way, stems teach something simple and profound, that damage does not mean failure, that healing is part of growing, that strength is not the absence of pain, but the ability to carry it and continue. And, for herbaceous plants, soft stems that do not woody strength comes from another source, turgor pressure. Inside each cell, water presses outward against the cell wall. This pressure keeps the stem firm. If the plant dries, it wilts, but give it water, and the firmness returns. Even here, in softness, strength lives. Some stems are hollow, not as a weakness, but as a design. Hollow stems save weight, flex in the wind, resist snapping. Bamboo, one of the fastest growing plants on earth, is a master of this: tall, hollow, strong. Others use ridges, internal struts, or spiral fibers, all invisible to the eye, but felt in every storm. And still others, like vines, do not stand alone at all. They cling, they wrap, they lean, but that does not make them weak. It makes them smart. They use what's around them. They conserve energy. They reach higher with less. Even in stillness, movement hides. As a stem grows, it may twist a pattern, called helical growth, may follow the sun in a slow dance, called heliotropism, may lean toward touch in a response, called thigmotropism. These are movements too slow to see, but too deep to ignore. The stem is not passive. It is patient. Now, bring your attention to where stem meets leaf, the node. This joint is more than a junction. It is a decision point. It is where the plant chooses to open, to divide, to display. From here, the leaf unfurls, catching light. From here, a bud may grow or not. Each node holds potential. In between each node, the internode stretches, deciding height, spacing, pattern. And what about the leaves? They may seem separate, but their rhythm is guided by the stem, the spiral of their arrangement, the spacing, the timing, all written in the stem's silent code. And if a leaf falls, the scar remains. Look closely at a twig. You will see these leaf scars, crescent marks, like faded moons, where a leaf once connected. Above it, a bud waits, holding next year's possibility. The stem remembers, and it plans. In winter, woody stems hold their buds tight. Scales wrap them like blankets. Inside, tissues, sleep, flower, leaf, stem, perfectly folded, perfectly patient. In spring, they awaken. The cycle resumes, and so the stem becomes not just structure, but memory. Not just path, but rhythm. It sets the tempo for the plant's life. Some plants flower once and die. Others bloom for decades. Some put out leaves all at once. Others open one by one. The stem sets this pace. It holds the timing, and in that timing, life unfolds. Look now at a tree, bare in winter. What do you see? Not emptiness, but form. Shape remains. The strength remains. Even without leaves, the stem speaks. It shows what has grown, what has fallen, what still waits. It is not always beautiful in the way we expect, not always smooth or balanced, but it is honest. And in that honesty, there is grace. So, the stem teaches this, that standing still is not the same as doing nothing. That, holding, is an action. That scars can be strong. That form is meaning, and as your breath slows and the imagined forest rises around you, trunks still, branches wide, stems lifting the sky, you feel this strength in your own bones, in your spine, in your stillness, and gently, as if whispered by the wind through bare branches, the thought returns. If the stem lives and connects and carries, then what comes next? What opens wide? What flutters in the air? What drinks the light? What unfurls from every node to greet the sun? You come now to the part of the plant that opens, not just structurally, but sensorially, the part that spreads wide. It listens to the wind. It touches light with its skin. You come to the leaves. Imagine now that you are a leaf, not a single rigid shape, but an unfolding, soft extension from the stem, reaching outward and upward, born to feel the sky. You are thin, so thin, yet filled with purpose. You are not just decoration. You are the gateway through which life itself passes. Your body is delicate, a surface barely thicker than a whisper, and yet you contain the ability to feed an entire forest. Your flatness is your gift. You expose as much surface area as possible to sunlight, to air, to the invisible particles floating all around. You are the plant's solar panel, but more alive, more feeling. Your anatomy is a design of grace, a skin of cells, each one knowing its place. On your outer surface lies the epidermis, a clear, protective layer that guards without blocking. Light, waxy, smooth, often covered in tiny hairs. It is your first line of safety, and scattered across this epidermis are the stomata, tiny pores, invisible to the eye, yet vital to life. They open, they close, they breathe. Through them, carbon dioxide enters, oxygen exits, water evaporates. These openings are flanked by guard cells, curved like lips, able to sense the air's mood, its moisture, its warmth, its pressure. Inside the leaf, between the surfaces, lies the mesophyll, your living heart. It is here that the true magic unfolds. These inner tissues are filled with chloroplasts, and within those chloroplasts, green pigment hums. Chlorophyll, chlorophyll, the name itself, a lullaby. It is what makes you green, but more than that, it is what makes you alive. This pigment captures light, especially the blue and red parts of the spectrum, and uses it to rearrange atoms. Carbon dioxide from the air, water from the roots, light from the sun. You transform them into sugar, into energy, into life. This process is photosynthesis. You do not rush it. You do not force it. You allow it to happen over hours, over days. Each photon that touches you is absorbed, passed along a chain of molecules like a note passed quietly through a room. At the end of that chain, sugar, food, the beginning of the plant's body. But you do more than feed. You also breathe through the stomata. Water vapor escapes. This is called transpiration, and it cools you. It creates a gentle pull that draws more water up from the roots. It is part of the flow. And as you lose this water, you do not fear. You trust that more will come. This, too, is your wisdom. Your veins, thin but branching, carry the gifts. They are visible against your skin, a map of movement. The central vein, or midrib, anchors you. From it, side veins arc, or fan, or fork patterns that differ from plant to plant, but always with purpose. These veins contain both xylem and phloem. Water up, sugar down. Even here, in the leaf, the story of the stem continues. And all of this, all of it, happens in silence. There's no sound, no trembling, just light landing, molecules moving, life quietly making more of itself. You, as a leaf, exist for this. You do not need to be noticed. You do not need to be large. Even a single blade of grass holds this power. Even the tiniest moss leaf, clinging to a damp rock, drinks in light dot, and when your time ends, you fall. But even in falling, you give. You return nutrients to the soil. You blanket the roots. You decompose into tomorrow. You are not the center. But without you, nothing continues. The stem lifted you. The root fed you. But it is you who opens. You who breathes. You who sees the sun. And as your surface warms in the morning light, you begin to sense the day. the angle of the sun, the scent in the breeze, the tiny shifts in moisture. You respond, not with thought, but with openness. And so, the thin skin of the world begins to hum, all around you, in forests, in fields, in houseplants, on windowsills. Leaves shimmer and whisper. They catch the light, not as possession, but as communion. They let it pass through them, change them, fuel them. And as the afternoon stretches on, you begin to wonder, if the leaf captures the light, what does it do with it next? What patterns form in that energy? What responses begin to stir within? What quiet transformation takes place, molecule by molecule, deep within the green? Breathe now, as a leaf breathes, but not with lungs, with openings, with pores, the stillness, all across. Your surface are scattered, tiny mouths, stomata, and though they are unseen by the eye, they are always watching, always sensing. Each one is a doorway between the inner world and the sky, and they open not on command, but in rhythm. They respond to light, to moisture, to warmth. They breathe not with desire, but with need. You are this leaf now. You open, the sun rises, and your stomata begin to part, slowly, like eyelids waking. They widen with the light, pulled open by guard cells swelling with water. Cicadas' guard cells are curved like crescents, and when filled with water, turgid, they flex outward, forming a tiny gap. Through this gap, a breath begins. Carbon dioxide, drifting in the morning air, slips into your body. It finds its way through the spongy mesophyll into the chloroplasts. There, it becomes something more, not by magic, but by light. Oxygen, the byproduct of photosynthesis, leaves through the same door. A trade, a silent transaction in water always, always drifts outward in vapor. This is transpiration. This is gentle, slow, yet over time, the flow is immense. A single tree can release hundreds of liters in a day, not by sweating, by breathing. You'll lose water to the air, but it is not waste. To signal, it is movement. It creates a pull from leaf to stem to root. The evaporating droplets tug on the water behind them, which tugs on the water beneath, and so on, a column of molecules rising in response to your breath. In this way, your loss is the plant's gain. You cool the surface, you feed the system, you shape the climate around you. Now, imagine a forest, millions of leaves breathing together, moisture rising invisibly, air cooling, clouds forming, rain falling. You are part of a cycle that links earth to sky, sky to root, and yet you do not force this. You sense, you adjust. On a dry day, you close your stomata slightly, conserving water. On a humid day, you open wide. On a bright day, you breathe deeply. On a dark one, you wait. There is no hurry, only response. The placement of stomata varies. On most plants, they gather on the underside of the leaf, shaded, protected. In aquatic plants, they sit on the top, where air meets water. In desert plants, they hide deep in grooves or chambers, shielded from sun and wind. Form follows survival. The pattern always serves the whole dot. And now, feel what it means to cool. As you breathe, you lose heat. The evaporating water carries energy away from your surface. You do not burn, even in full sun. You regulate, like a living shade. You are air conditioner and lung and skin, all in one. The forest does not boil in summer because of you. Even cities feel cooler beneath your canopy. Leaves on trees, leaves on roofs, leaves rising in rows along boulevards. Every one of them breathing, every one of them cooling, and in return, the world breathes easier. Think of this. The very air you inhale at night was shaped by leaves during the day. Not just oxygen, but moisture, scent, temperature. In the evening, many stomata close. Night brings rest and also risk. When the sun sets, photosynthesis pauses. Water loss must be controlled. But not all leaves close. Some remain open to breathe, to sense, to continue the flow. There is no one rule, only response. And now, return to the sensation of breath, but not in your lungs, in your skin, in your cells, in the idea that you do not just breathe air, but are part of its making. Each time you walk beneath a tree, you are surrounded by this quiet exchange. The whisper of gas, the drift of water, the language of openings. You are held in a kind of breath you do not speak. The leaf teaches that breath is not only for the self. It is part of a larger balance, one that connects every plant, every breeze, every being. And as you picture now, a forest at midday, leaves shimmering, pores open, air sweetened with life, you begin to wonder if the leaf breathes and cools and feeds the air. What more can it sense? What does it feel beyond the sun? What signals pass through its green skin, unnoticed by human eyes? What else does the leaf know? Now imagine that light is a language, not spoken in words, but in warmth, in photons, in duration and angle. You, as a leaf, are fluent in this language. You do not merely absorb light, you read it. You respond. The sun rises, and you tilt gently toward it. Not quickly, not dramatically, but with a deep awareness. You turn your flat body to catch the rays. Some plants move their leaves throughout the day, a slow, quiet dance known as heliotropism. It is not thought, it is response. You grow more. When days grow longer, you rest when they shorten. You know the seasons, not by calendars, but by the changing length of light. This awareness lives in your very cells. PHOTORE-CEP-TORS, molecules that sense light, guide your reactions. They tell you how much light there is, what kind, from which direction. They help you adjust your chemistry, your angle, even your shape. Blue light tells you to grow upright. Red light triggers flowering. Far red tells you of shade, of nearby competition. You listen to all of it, and when light is blocked, you reach. If a shadow falls, you elongate. If a nearby leaf casts shade, you shift. You adapt your spacing, your placement, your form. You do not resist. You change. When the air grows dry, you narrow your openings. When the heat becomes too great, you turn your edges to the sun, a behavior called periheliotrism, to reduce exposure. When wind rises, you flutter instead of snap. When insects bite, you respond chemically, sending signals through your veins to warn the rest of the plant. You are not passive. A torn leaf does not scream, but it signals. The damaged cells release hormones. They call for help. Nearby cells stiffen their walls. The plant may send tannins, bitter compounds, to discourage further feeding. Some even release volatile molecules, scents that attract predators of the pest. In this way, harm becomes message, and when a leaf ages, its color changes. Green fades, yellows, reds, purples emerge. This is not decay. It is transition. A plant is reabsorbing nutrients, breaking down chlorophyll, preparing for dormancy or death. The pigments that remain, anthocyanins, carotenoids, were always there, hidden under green. Now, in cooler light, they sing. Autumn is not an ending. It is a shift. In deciduous trees, the base of the leaf forms a separation layer. Slowly, the connection to the stem weakens. The leaf detaches without tearing. It falls in its time. Not before this, too, is a kind of listening, to light, to time, and to the plant's own rhythm. Some leaves stay green all year, thick, waxy, designed for permanence. Others live briefly, soft and quick. The lifespan of a leaf is not its worth. Each serves in its season. Even fallen leaves feed the soil. They decay into nutrients. They form humus. They insulate roots. Their shape dissolves, but their impact remains. You realize now that a leaf's response is layered to the sun, to the air, to injury, to time, tease. And these responses are not just reactions. Tia, they are a form of knowing. The leaf is not brainless. It is sensate in its own way. If one side of the leaf is more shaded, cells on the lighter side may grow faster, curling the leaf. If a touch is repeated, some leaves fold. If light shifts seasonally, growth patterns change. These are not thoughts, but choices. And in these choices, the leaf becomes a mirror of its environment, its history, its community. A sun leaf growing in full light will be thicker, smaller, darker, green. A shade leaf growing beneath a canopy will be larger, thinner, lighter. Same plant, different truths. You see now that every leaf is shaped by where it lives. Okay? And so it teaches this. To respond is to survive. To change is to continue. To listen is to grow. And as you imagine now the rustle of leaves, each one moving slightly, none in isolation, you feel the forest as a body, and every leaf a nerve ending, a sensor. The leaf is not just a part of the plant. It is its awareness. And as night falls and the stomata close, as moisture settles and light fades, you begin to wonder if the leaf captures, responds, and lets go. What happens next to the energy it has gathered? Okay. What does the plant do with the sugars created in light? Where does that energy go? And how does it power everything that follows? You return once more to the quiet world of plants, but now something stirs. You have walked among roots and stems, traced the pattern of leaves and the movement of light. But now you arrive at the moment of invitation, where the plant reveals its most expressive self. The flower, a gesture of openness, a moment of boldness in a life spent mostly still. You do not stumble upon the flower. It greets you. It reaches out, in scent, in shape, in timing. You feel it rather than see it first, like a presence in the air, a color that brushes against your attention. The flower exists for others. It exists to be seen, to be visited, to be understood, but not by you. By pollinators, by partners in the dance of life. The journey to becoming a flower begins not in the petals or the buds, but deep within the tip of the stem, in a small pocket of undifferentiated cells called the meristem. These cells are quiet architects, waiting for instruction. In one moment, they may build a leaf, in another, a stem. But something changes. The light shifts. Temperatures drop or rise. Hormones stir and move silently through the plant's veins. And then, in that quiet decision, the plant chooses something new. It chooses to bloom. Slowly, delicately, the process begins. Suppose, form first, small, often green, like tiny guards curled around a treasure. Then petals begin to unfurl, crafted in the palette of the plant's desire. Yellows, purples, whites, reds. The pigment is not just beauty, it is code. It is a signal. Within the petals, you find the stamens, thin filaments, topped with pollen-rich anthers. At the very center, the pistil, stigma, style, ovary, a sacred well waiting to receive. These structures are not merely organs. They are instruments in a symphony of reproduction. Perfectly tuned to respond to contact, timing, and touch. Now you become that flower, a bud once closed tightly to the world. You feel the sunlight, and it tells you the time is near. Petal by petal, you open. You let in air, warmth, color. You wait. But what do you wait for? You wait for touch. You wait for company. You wait for the visitor who will carry your message forward. A bee, perhaps, drawn to the ultraviolet patterns, hidden within your petals. To you, those lines are invisible. To the bee, they are a map. Or maybe you called to a hummingbird with a bloom shaped like a trumpet, filled with nectar that lies deep within your throat. The bird hovers, wings a blur, tongue reaching. It brushes your stamens, takes your pollen, leaves a promise behind. Each flower is shaped not just by need, but by history. Coevolution is not a story of invention. It is a slow weaving. Over generations, flower and pollinator sculpt each other, refining form and function, color and craving. What fits survives. What thrives repeats. Some flowers bloom only once, an event as rare as a comet's passing. Others open daily, timed with the rising sun. Some bloom at night, calling to bats and moths with soft pale petals and rich perfume. Some never open to the eye at all, hidden beneath leaf or soil, unfolding only in the dark. But all are moments of communication. A flower is not decoration, it is language, and the words it speaks are molecules floating on air, touching antennae and nostrils. Each chemical message is precise: sweet for bees, musk for beetles, fruit-like for flies, rot for carrion feeders. The scent tells the story of who you are, what you offer, and when to arrive. Sometimes the flower deceives. Orchids that mimic the exact shape and smell of a female wasp, tricking the male into mating with them. No rewards is given. Only pollen is taken. The wasp flies away, confused but carrying life. Even without deceit, the exchange is not without cost. Nectar must be made. Scent must be produced. Color must be maintained. These are not passive features. They are investments. The plant gives freely, but only because life depends on return. Pollination is the moment of possibility. Bee lands. A breeze stirs. A leg brushes past. Pollen grains, small as dust, adhere to the stigma's moist surface. In that moment, nearly invisible, changes everything. The pollen begins to grow. A tube forms, extending downward through the style like a root reaching in reverse. It moves with purpose, finding the ovule, carrying with it the potential of new life. Fertilization is not loud. It is quiet, inward, a spark inside the seed-2-B. Once this happens, the flower begins to fade. The petals, once vivid, now soften. They curl, dry, fall. But this is not decay. This is transformation. The ovary begins to swell. Cells divide. Sugars flow. The fruit begins. Still, the flower holds on, protecting what forms inside. The structure is not just reproductive. It is protective. Each part has done its job. Each lets go in time. Other visitors may pass through, not pollinators, but thieves, insects that chew rather than pollinate, birds that take the nectar but ignore the pollen. Not all interactions are mutual, but the plant endures, evolves. It learns, not through thought, but through time. Some flowers close during rain, others bloom only after fire. A few wait for darkness, opening like whispers beneath the stars. Each has its rhythm, each its reason, and you, observing this, feel something gentle settle in your chest. The realization that beauty has purpose, that color and fragrance are strategies, that softness can be strong, that calling out to the world is not weakness, it is wisdom. You think of the blossoms you've touched in your life, the petals you've smelled, the wildflowers you passed without a glance. Each one was offering a gift, not just to the world, but to you. An invitation to notice, to slow, to see in the flower's life. You see something of your own. A desire to be known, to share, to change, to reach across silence and offer something meaningful. Even in a single bloom, there is memory, an imprint of lineage. The way a flower opens carries the history of its ancestors, who it called to, who answered, who passed its pollen forward. These memories are not written in books, but in form, in habit, in gesture. And as you drift now, wrapped in this botanical reverie, you see them again, the fields, the trees, the gardens of your childhood. Each flower you've ever touched, each scent you've ever followed. They were speaking, they were inviting, and in answering, You became a part of the story. The invitation is not always accepted. Some flowers bloom and wither, never touched. But even then, they have tried. And in that effort is grace. You imagine now a forest of blossoms, some open, some close, some vibrant, some pale. You walk among them slowly, gently. Each one speaks. Not in words, but in color, in shape, in patience. Somewhere in this meadow, you find a patch of tiny blue flowers. They are easy to miss, yet here they are open, unguarded, facing the sky. They do not try to outshine others. They do not rush to bloom. Simply are. You kneel beside them and listen. Their silence is filled with meaning. Further on, you find a single red bloom, larger than your hand. It pulses with heat, giving off a scent, both sweet and strange. Insects buzz around it, some welcome, some unwanted. Still it remains. Open. Still it gives the variety of forms, humbles you. Cup-shaped, bell-shaped, star-like. Petals, long and trailing, or round and cheerful. Each speaks a different dialect of the same language. Life. Life seeking connection. Life willing to wait. And in the space between one flower and the next, in the warm silence of the garden, a question forms. If the flower is an invitation, what comes next? What rises from the place where petals once bloomed? What carries forward the silent message, whispered into the air by color and scent? Where does the invitation lead once it has been answered? The answer rests inside, just beneath the fading bloom, where the seed begins to dream. The flower, having opened, having reached, now begins its slow retreat inward. The petals fall. The bright colors fade. What was once a signal to the world now turns its energy deep inside. The invitation has ended, but the purpose continues. You do not see this moment. It is quiet. It is not celebrated. But it is here that the most important work of the plant begins. This is the architecture of fruit, the silent construction of the future. Inside the swelling base of the flower, the ovary begins to change. Cells divide. Hormones whisper. The ovule becomes a seed. The ovary wall thickens, stretches, transforms into flesh or shell or skin. Each species has its own recipe, a blueprint passed down through time. Apple, cherry, bean, almond. Each has been shaped not only by survival, but by story. The fruit is not a reward for us, It is a strategy for the plant. You hold a fruit in your mind now. Soft peach, a crisp apple, a pod filled with peas. The shape and flavor are not accidents. They are the result of millions of quiet experiments, ways to attract, to move, to hide, to last. The plant does not know in the way you do, but through time, it remembers. It learns. The sweetness of the fruit calls to animals. Birds, mammals, even insects are drawn to its scent, its color. The fruit is eaten. The seed is carried, sometimes swallowed whole, sometimes dropped later in a new place. In this way, the plant moves without moving, but not all fruits seek to be eaten. Some enclose their seeds in armor, thick husks, hard shells, dry pods that split when the sun dries them. Some spin in the wind, some float on water. Others wait until fire cracks their coat and the rain that follows wakes them. Every fruit is a plan, not of thought, but of adaptation. And inside, at the heart of it all, is the seed. You pick up a seed in your imagination. It is small. It fits in your palm. It does not speak. But if you look closer, you see what it holds. A map, a memory, a story yet to be told. The outer coat is a shield, protection from water, heat, teeth, time. Inside is the embryo, tiny root, tiny shoot, coiled like a dream, and surrounding it, the endosperm or catalydin, a packet of food, a packed lunch for the first days of life. How does something so small contain all that is needed for a tree? Because the seed is a capsule of memory. It holds the lessons of its ancestors, how to grow, when to rest, where to reach. It does not decide, but it responds to moisture, to warmth, to light, to darkness, to time. Some seeds sprout quickly, others wait years. Some wait decades. The oldest seed ever grown sprouted after 2,000 years. It waited, patient, in silence, until the world gave it permission to begin. And so the plant, having given its energy to fruit and seed, begins to rest. The flower is gone. The leaves fall. The stem dries. But the message has been sent. The future has been packed into 1,000 tiny envelopes and scattered to the wind. You look at a dandelion now, each seed attached to a small parachute. A breeze lifts them. They drift. One lands far from where it began. And in time, quietly, it begins again. Or you think of a coconut, heavy and round, falling to the beach and carried by the sea. It floats for days, weeks, months. Then, on a distant shore, it splits. A root reaches downward. A shoot reaches up. Life begins in a new world. Not all seeds succeed. Many never find the right place. But the plant does not count on one. It sends many. It spreads its hope wide. And even the failures matter. Each attempt teaches. Each new seed is a variation, a change in shape, in timing, in resistance. Some survive heat. Some survive drought. Some attract birds more quickly. Evolution is not a staircase. It is a field, a meadow of possibilities. You walk now through an orchard in your memory. Fruits hang from branches. Apples, pears, cherries. Some fall and feed the soil. Some are taken by animals. Some rot, nourishing roots. Nothing is wasted. Even decay is part of the journey. In the forest, you see seeds nestled in pine cones, hidden under leaves, stored in caches by squirrels who forget them. In the desert, seeds lie dormant for years, waiting for the rare rain. In the grasslands, seeds drop into cracks between rocks, where wind cannot reach them, and the seed waits. It knows nothing, but it knows enough. You think now of your own life, the ideas you've planted, the moments you've shared, the changes you've made quietly, sometimes without knowing. What seeds have you left behind? What fruit has your life grown that others may carry? The plant does not bloom for itself. It does not fruit for itself. It gives without knowing who will receive. And that, too, is wisdom. So as you lie here, drifting in the memory of flowers, in the silence of seeds, you realize something beautiful. The plant trusts the future, even when it cannot see it. And deep inside the seed, folded tight and waiting, is a green whisper of hope. What tells the seed when to awaken? What ancient signal stirs it from sleep? When the wind calls, when the soil softens, when the rain soaks in and the light returns, the seed begins to stir. Not in rush, not in fear, but with quiet certainty. It begins to uncoil. A root seeks gravity. A shoot seeks sky. A cicada does not wonder where to go. Cicada, it simply remembers. Even if it lands in a crack between stones, it tries. Even if shadow falls, it grows. It follows warmth, moisture, the direction of the breeze. Its cells stretch like fingers, exploring the world around it. You may never notice the first sprout. It is so small, so hidden, but underground, a revolution begins. Enzymes break, stored food, cells elongate, tiny hairs reach outward. A plant has awakened, and it remembers how to live. There are seeds that wait for decades before sprouting. There are seeds that need the scouring of fire. There are seeds that grow only after passing through the gut of a bird. Still, they wait. Still, they carry life. Within a single seed, a lineage stretches back for millions of years. and forward, perhaps, for just as long. The fruit is gone, the flower is gone, but the memory remains. And so you hold this moment gently now, the moment between what was and what might be. You imagine the seed tucked under soil, asleep. You imagine the warmth of spring. You imagine the soft unfolding. It will stretch toward light, not knowing what the future holds, but believing in its quiet way that something good will come. For the seed trusts the signals, just as the plant once trusted the sun. It does not fight the dark. T listens, waits, and then rises. A beginning, always wrapped in stillness. Life tucked into silence. The story is not over. It is only waiting. You pause now, beneath the heavy branches of a mango tree, its fruit glowing golden in the warm Punjab sun. Each one a Fulan Ka Tofa, gift of flowers ripened to sweetness. The air hums with their scent, a quiet call that pulls you closer, urging you to touch the smooth, amber skin. Once, these mangoes were small, green nuts, bitter and hard. The time and the plant's silent alchemy have worked their magic. Ethylene, a whisper of a hormone, stirred within, softening starches into sugars, painting the fruit with hues of dawn. You imagine a guava nearby, its tart youth fading as it blushes yellow. A choti see child's small trick to tempt birds and hands alike. This ripening is no mere change, it's a promise, a flower's vow fulfilled, crafted to lure the world to carry its seeds. You think of your own ripening moments, the slow softening of your edges, the sweetness that comes with time. What do you become as seasons shift within you? A fallen jasmine lies at your feet, its purple skin split to reveal a seed, small yet stubborn, ready for a journey. The plant does not wait in silence, it schemes, sending its children far from its roots. In a Bijka safar journey of the seed, a Mina bird, beak stained with juice, snatches the jasmine and flies to a distant hill, dropping the seed in soft earth. The tree's plan unfolds, trusting wings to carry its future. You picture a coconut, a Samundari Jahaz ship of the sea, bobbing across the waves to ascend shore, its husk cradling a seed that will sprout in alien sand. Dandelions, mistaken for seeds, but fruits, in truth, drift on Hawa Ka Jadu, magic of the wind, their feathery papples catching breezes, to dance across fields. The touch-me-not, or chewy-mooey, flings its seeds with a testamaka swift explosion, a playful rebellion against its rooted life. You smile, imagining the faint pop in a monsoon-soaked forest, each seed a hope cast to the earth. What journeys do you send forth, scattering dreams to find new ground? Now, you bite into a mango, its juice sweet as amrit nectar, a gift from the tree's quiet labor. This sweetness is no selfless act, it's a bargain, a lure to ensure. The seeds escape, yet it feeds the world. In a Punjab village, children laugh as they share guavas, their tartness sparking joy under a banyan's shade. In a Karachi market, pomegranates pile high, their ruby seeds, a danuk, ka rang, color of the rainbow, nourishing weary travelers. Fruits sustain more than humans. Monkeys feast on figs, scattering seeds to plant new forests. Ants carry tiny berries to their nests, sowing groves in secret. Even the fallen fruit, rotting in the meaty kakat lap of the earth, feeds microbes, enriching the soil for seasons to come. You recall mangoes at weddings, symbols of love, or jamins, staining childhood tongues purple, each bite a memory, woven into life. Medicinally, fruits hilama strengthens with vitamin C, pomegranate soothes with antioxidants. The mango in your hand is a rishta bond, tying you to the earth, to others, to time itself. What nourishes you in body or heart as you walk this green world? The seed in your palm, small as a moti pearl, holds the weight of a mango tree's legacy. This is the fruit's final gift, completing the Zendagi Kachaka cycle of life. From flower to fruit, from dispersal to germination, the plant spins a story of renewal. The mango you ate began as a blossom, kissed by a bee in a monsoon dawn. Its seed now dreaming of new roots in a distant orchard. Some seeds, like the lotus, wait centuries in dry mud, blooming only when Barsakapani rainwater returns. A testament to patience. Figs rely on wasps, tiny partners entering fruits to pollinate and perish, a sacrifice for the next generation. Bananas, seedless, and KHUD-BA-KHUD, self-sustaining, sprout from roots or cuttings, defying the need for dispersal. Each path, sexual or not, ensures the plant story endures, a quiet vow to outlast time. You reflect on your own cycle's growth, rest, beginnings, reborn, and endings. The mango tree, its fruit fallen, whispers, life is a circle, not a line. In every seed is a promise kept. You linger now, the mango's sweetness fading on your tongue, its seed still in your hand. The plant's gift is more than flesh aids, a bridge between worlds, a whacked katofa, gift of time. Fruits tie you to the earth's rhythms, to the mina's flight, to the monsoon's touch. They feed body and soul, carry dreams across hills and seas, and spin life's wheel ever forward. You think of the orchards of your childhood, the guavas shared with friends, the pomegranates split open under a summer sky. The plant, rooted yet boundless, teaches you to give is to live, to scatter is to grow, to endure is to bloom again. As you drift toward sleep, the mango tree's leaves rustle, a circa saw's melody of notes lulling you. What will you carry forward as the fruit story weaves into your dreams? Let the green world hold you, its gifts ripening in your heart, whispering of cycles that never end. You sit now under a big peepal tree, its leaves shaking softly in the warm monsoon air like they're telling you a secret. The ground feels alive, with roots stretching deep into the meaty kagar home of the soil. Quietly figuring out where to go, what to do, how to grow. Plants don't have brains like you, but they're smart in their own way, making choices and learning from the world around them. It's a Kamash Eiko quiet cleverness, a kind of thinking that happens without words or thoughts, just the gentle work of leaves, stems, and roots. You lean closer, feeling calm, and the trees seem to invite you to listen. Plants aren't just sitting there, they're deciding things, learning things, all in their silent, green way. Look at the Chuimu, touch me not, a little plant you might see in a village yard. Its leaves folding up fast when you touch them, like they're shy. This isn't just a trick, the plant choosing what to do. Scientists have seen it learn. If you gently drop it a few times, it closes its leaves at first, but then stops, as if it knows there's no danger. Imagine kids in the Punjab village, laughing as they poke the Chuimui, not knowing they're seeing a plant remember something. Its leaves hold the memory, not a brain, like a Yadka Nishan mark of memory spread all over the plant. You think about times you've learned to stay calm when something surprises you. Maybe you and the Chuimu aren't so different. Now, picture a sunflower in a sand field, its bright yellow face always turning to follow the sun. A real Siraj, car dust, friend of the sun. It's choosing to chase the light, twisting its stem to catch every ray for food making. No brain tells it to move, but special chemicals in the plant, like tiny helpers, feel the sunlight and guide it. The sunflower decides where to bend, how to grow, making sure it gets enough light to stay strong. Its roots do the same, reaching for water, turning away from bad soil, like they're sniffing out the best path in the dark. You wonder, when do you turn towards something good in your life, like the sunflower chasing the sun? There's a thin, golden vine called daughter, creeping through a Karachi garden, cuting its favorite plant to grow on, like choosing a sacha dust true friend. It smells the air, feeling out which plant nearby Maybe a juicy tomato will feed it best. It's picky, testing plants and leaving the weak ones behind, learning what's good for it. Other plants, like corn, remember dry days when water was scarce? And next time, they close their tiny leaf holes faster to save water, like they've learned from tough times. Even the Venus flytrap, that snappy plant, counts how many times an insect touches its hairs before closing. A Janati Kakel counting game so it doesn't waste energy on nothing. Your amazing plants don't think like you, but they know things. Their smartness spread through every leaf and root. Plants learn from what happens around them, slow and steady. A bean plant climbing a stick in a Lahore courtyard figures out which way to twist, like it's practicing to get it right. A tiny weed learns to stretch toward light when it's stuck in shade. A Roshni Ka Rasta, path to light. They notice things, touch, light, even sounds. Like the munching of a caterpillar making a plant toughen up its leaves, ready for a Choti Si Larai small fight. It's like a forest full of students, each plant learning its own lessons, sharing them through roots and air. No one part of the plant is the boss. Their smartness is everywhere. Sab, Ka, Ilm. Everyone's wisdom that keeps them growing strong. This kind of thinking feels different, but special. A tree in a shady spot moves its branches to find a sunny patch. A Chota SA plan, small plan to keep growing. A pea plant learns to bend toward a breeze, even if the breeze moves, like it's guessing where it'll come from next. You think of an old uncle in your village, wise from years of watching the seasons, knowing things without reading books. Plants are like that. Their choice is slow but sure, learned from rain, sun, and wind, to feel their world might touch. Even the smell of danger and act, not with loud thoughts, but with a Sabar Kajawab answer of patience. What do you feel in your quiet moments, guiding you without words? You stay under the peepal tree now, its leaves making a soft geet song in the breeze, like they're talking to you. Plants don't think like people, but they're clever in their own way. Choosing paths, remembering lessons, growing smarter with every season. The chewy mooey folds, the sunflower turns, the daughter picks its host, and each one shows you a kamash. Icul quiet cleverness that's as real as your own. The garden, the forest, the fields there like a big Mohalla neighborhood, full of plants making decisions together, each one helping the others. You think about your own choices, the ones you make without thinking too hard, just feeling what's right. Maybe you're a little like these plants, growing toward what keeps you alive as you lean back. The people's cool shade feels like a Naran Chadar soft blanket, wrapping you in calm. The plant's smartness is gentle, not loud, but it's deep, like the roots under your feet. They don't need a brain to know their world. They learn from every touch, every ray of sun, every drop of rain. You're not so different. You and this tree, both sensing, learning, choosing in your own ways. Chewy mooies, quick fold, the sunflower's steady turn. The daughters, careful search, they're all lessons in living. Quiet, but strong. What will you learn tomorrow in the soft moments when you listen to your own heart? Let the plant's wisdom hold you. Their choices, a gentle lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves think and roots dream. You rest now under a big banyan tree, its roots hanging like a curtain, swaying softly in the warm evening air of a Punjab village. The tree feels alive, not rushing like people, but thinking in its own slow, quiet way, like a wise elder watching the world. Plants don't have brains, but they have a kamash, so silent thinking, that moves like a lazy river, steady and deep. The answer to the world slowly, remembering what happens to them, changing how they act to stay strong. This is their time-lapse, thinking, a demi echo, slow cleverness that unfolds over days, weeks, or even years, like a story told in whispers. You lean against the banyan's rough trunk, your breath calm, and feel the tree inviting you to see its patient, its clever ways, how it learns, remembers, grows smarter without ever hurrying. Imagine a small neem tree in a Lahore courtyard, its leaves bitten by a caterpillar one hot summer day. It doesn't fight back fast like you might, but it listens in its own way, sending out a soda call through its sap, making bitter chemicals to make its leaves taste bad. Days later, when another caterpillar comes, the neem is ready. Its leaves tougher, less tasty, like it learned from the first bite. This isn't a quick thought, it's a slow one, a Yad Ka Safar journey of memory that takes time to grow. Scientists say plants like this can remember stress, like a dry spell or a bug attack, and change how they act next time, like a farmer remembering last year's bad rain. If you think of times you've learned slowly, maybe from a mistake or a hard day, letting the lessons sink in deep. The neem's quiet memory feels like that, steady and sure. Now, picture a vine climbing a wall in a Karachi garden, its green fingers curling around a bamboo stick, feeling its way up. It doesn't rush, but every day it twists a little more, learning the best path to climb, like a child figuring out a new game. If you move the stick, the vine notices, slowly bending toward the new spot. Steamy chow, slow move, showing it remembers where the support was. This is adaptive behavior, a Naya Tariqa new way the plant finds to keep going. Some plants, like a tiny weed in a sand field, learn to stretch taller when shaded by bigger plants. Reaching for a Rashnika Tukra piece of light, they don't decide in a moment. They take their time, adjusting bit by bit, like a potter shaping clay over days. You wonder, what do you adjust slowly in your life, finding new ways without even noticing? A mustard plant in a Punjab farm shows another kind of slow thinking. When it hears the soft buzz of a caterpillar chewing, it doesn't react right away. But over hours, it builds stronger defenses, making chemicals to keep bugs away, like a choti seed tayari small preparation. Scientists have seen this play. A sound like chewing, and the plant gets ready, as if it remembers the danger. This memory isn't in one place, like your brain, but spread all over, in leaves, stems, and roots. Sab, Gayad, everyone's memory. Another plant, like corn, remembers a drought from weeks ago, closing its tiny leaf holes faster when the next dry day comes, saving water like a careful shopkeeper. If you think of your own memories, the ones that change how you act, maybe without you even knowing. Plants do that too. They're slow thinking, a sub-arca jawab answer of patience. In a Balochi desert, cactus stands alone, its spines sharp under the Jalta Suraj burning sun. It learns from the dry land, growing thicker skin over years, storing water like a khazana treasure for tough times. This isn't a quick choice, it's a slow one. The cactus adapting to the desert's hard lessons, like a traveler, learning to walk a long road. Some trees, like the people, change their leaves angle over seasons to catch more sun. Demi Harkat, slow movement that shows they've learned where the light falls best. Others, like a mango tree, drop fruit early if water's scarce, saving energy for next year, like they're planning ahead. You smile, thinking of your own plans, the ones that grow slowly, like seeds waiting for rain. Plants don't rush their thinking, but they always find a way. This time-lapse thinking is what makes plants so special. A bean plant in a village yard, curling up a rope, learns to twist tighter each day, like it's practicing to get stronger. A tiny flower in a monsoon forest, shaded by big trees, grows longer stems over weeks, reaching for a Chani Kajala glimpse of moonlight. They filled their world's sun rain. Bugs, she didn't respond in their own time. Not fast like you, but steady, like the dupe or chan sun in shade of a long day. Scientists say plants can even learn from each other, sharing signals through roots, like neighbors talking over a Diwar wall. Samohala Ka Ilm, neighborhoods, wisdom, where every plant adds to the story, helping the others grow smarter. What do you learn from the people around you? There. Quiet lessons, shaping your days. You stay under the banyan now, its roots like arms holding the earth, its leaves whispering in narum geet, soft song in the breeze. Plants think in slow motion, their memories built from sun and rain, their changes small but strong. Names, bitter leaves, the vine's careful climb, cactus's tough skin, they all show a Kamash soul silent thinking that doesn't need a brain. You feel connected to them, your own slow thoughts, your own quiet changes, like roots finding water in the dark. The forest, the garden, the desert, there, like a big Guyone village, full of plants learning together, each one adding to the other's strength. You think of your own life, the slow ways you grow, the lessons you carry without saying a word as you lean back. The banyan's shade feels like a Thandi chadar cool blanket, wrapping you in peace. Plants don't hurry, but they know so much, remembering the bite of a bug, the touch of rain, the pull of light. Their time-lapse thinking is a sabar katofa, gift of patience, teaching you that wisdom doesn't need speed. A neem, the cactus, the vine, they all change, learn, and grow, just like you do in your quiet moments. What will you notice tomorrow in the slow beat of your own heart? Let the plants' gentle lessons cradle you, their memories a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where roots think and leaves plan, slow and sure under the stars. You sit now under the cool shade of a mango tree, its leaves dancing softly in the warm breeze of a Lahore evening, like they're sharing a secret with the sky. The air feels alive, filled with the quiet hum of the tree's life, its roots deep in the meaty Kadil heart of the soil, its branches reaching for the stars. Plants don't have brains like you, but they have their own kind of mind. Alag, Sog, different thinking that doesn't need a head to be smart. They feel the world, respond to it, and seem to know things in a way that's hard to explain, but easy to feel. This is another kind of mind, a Kamash, Damag, silent mind that redefines what it means to be clever or awake. Like a gentle song sung by leaves and roots, you lean closer, your breath slow and calm, and the mango tree invites you to see its special way of being alive. A way that makes you rethink what a mind can be. Think of a sunflower in a Punjab field, its bright yellow face always turning to follow the sun, like a Suraj Kasati, friend of the sun. It doesn't think like you, with words or plans, but it knows where the light is, twisting its stem to catch every ray. This isn't just moving, it's a kind of knowing, a yagda esos, awake feeling that helps it grow strong. Scientists say plants like this use tiny helpers in their cells, like light sensors, to feel the sun's path. It's as if the whole plant is a mind, every leaf and stem working together to make choices. Like a village deciding together without a single leader. You wonder, what parts of you know things without thinking, like your heart beating or your feet finding a path? Now picture a chewy moo, touch me not, in a Karachi garden. Its leaves closing fast when you brush them, like they're shy of your touch. It's not just a trick, it's the plant being aware, feeling your finger and deciding to fold up. Scientists have watched this plant learn, keeping its leaves open after many gentle touches, as if it knows there's no danger. This isn't a brain at work, but it's a kind of consciousness. A hash, kaj, jadoo, magic of awareness spread across the plant's body. Every leaf, every route, feels and responds. Like a Mohalla neighborhood where everyone shares the same understanding. You think of times you feel something deep inside, like joy or calm, without needing words. Maybe that's a little like the chewy mooi's quiet mind in a Sindh forest. A neem tree stands tall, its leaves bitter to keep bugs away. When a caterpillar chews, the neem sends out a sada call through the air, a smell that warns other trees to get ready. This isn't just a reflex, it's the neem knowing its world, talking to its neighbors without a voice. Scientists call this a kind of intelligence, not like yours, but real. A Zinda Sok living thought that lets plants work together. Some plants, like corn, notice dry days and save water better next time, as if they're awake to their past. Others, like a vine climbing a wall, feel the wind's direction and grow toward it, like they're listening to the Hawakagit song of the wind. You smile, thinking of how you sense things too, like the warmth of a friend's smile without needing to explain it. Plants don't think fast like you, but their slow awareness is deep, like a river carving a path through stone. A banyan tree in a Balaji village, its roots spreading wide, feels the soil's wetness and grows toward it, like it's choosing the best place to drink. This isn't a brain deciding, but a sab kadimag, everyone's mind, with every part of the plant roots, leaves, stems working as one. Scientists say plants can even feel sounds, like the buzz of a bee, and make more nectar to call it closer. A chehoda, say plant's small plan to get pollinated. Okay? It's as if the plant is awake, not sleeping through the world, but alive to every touch, sound, and light. You think of your own quiet moments when you feel the world without thinking. Okay? Maybe that's your own kind of plant mind. This different mind changes how you see intelligence. Okay? Jasmine bush, blooming at night in a Lahore courtyard, releases its sweet Ratrani ka Khushbu night jasmine's fragrance to call moths, like it knows when they fly. It's not thinking like you, but it's aware, timing its flowers to open under the Chand Cow nor moon's light. Statists argue if this is consciousness, but you feel it is a Zinda Esos living feeling that doesn't need a brain to be real. Plants share this awareness with each other, their roots talking through the soil, like neighbors whispering over a deep war wall. A tree shaded by another shifts its branches slowly, finding a Roshni Karasta path to light, as if it understands its place in the forest. If you reflect, what do you know without words, just by being part of the world? You stay under the mango tree now, its leaves making a soft geet song in the breeze, like they're telling you their story. Plants don't have brains, but they have a mind of their own. A lagdamag, different mind that feels, learns, and responds. The sunflower follows the sun. The chewy mooey hides from touch. The neem warns its friends, each one awake in its own way, alive to the world's rhythms. You think of a village where everyone works together without one boss. This person adding to the sab ki am, everyone's wisdom. Its plants are like that. Their intelligence spread across every leaf, every route, like a Mohala Karashni. Neighborhoods light. You feel connected to them, your own quiet knowing, like when you sense rain coming, or feel peace in the garden as you lean back. The mango tree's shade feels like a Naram Chadar soft blanket, wrapping you in. This other kind of mind, this plant consciousness, is gentle but strong, like the Dimi Hawa slow breeze moving through the leaves. They don't think like you, but they know their world, feeling the sun, the rain, the touch of a bug, and answering in their own time. The jasmine's night bloom, the banyan's reaching roots, the neem's warning smell, there, all signs of a Zindadil living heart, awake without eyes or ears. You're not so different, you and this tree, both filling the world, both alive in your own ways. What will you notice tomorrow in the quiet corners of your own mind? Let the plant's silent knowing hold you, their awareness a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves feel and roots listen. Alive under the stars, you kneel now in the cool shade of a banyan tree, its roots spreading wide across the soft earth of a village field, like arms holding the heart of the soil. Beneath your feet, hidden in the dark, a secret world buzzes with life, a quiet neighborhood where plants talk to each other through tiny threads of fungi. These fungi, like silent messengers, weave a web under the ground, connecting trees, shrubs, and grasses in a true bond. They're not just helpers, they're partners, sharing food and news with plants to keep the forest strong. This underground network, called the mycorrhizal web, is like a magic of the earth, a place where plants and fungi work together, trading gifts to help each other grow. You press your hand to the soil, feeling its warmth, and the banyan seems to whisper, "Come closer." Listen to the quiet chatter beneath your feet. Picture a mango tree in an orchard, its roots tangled with thin, white threads of fungi, like cotton strings, stitching the soil together. These fungi, called mycorrhizae, wrap around or slip inside the tree's roots, making a deal. The tree gives them sugars, sweet like honey, made from sunlight in its leaves. And the fungi give back water and nutrients, like phosphorus, pulled from deep in the earth. This trade is called symbiosis, a friendship where both sides win. The fungi stretch far, their threads reaching other plants, a neem, tree, a peepal, patch of grass, linking them all in an underground web. You think of your own friends, sharing food or help in tough times, and see how the mango tree does the same. Its roots tied to others through these tiny messengers. The fungi don't just share food, they carry messages. Like a note passed from house to house in a village. When a guava tree in a garden senses danger, maybe bugs eating its leaves, it sends a signal through its roots. A chemical whisper that travels along the fungal threads. The fungi pass this warning to a nearby jamin tree, which listens and starts making bitter leaves to keep bugs away, like a small preparation for trouble. Scientists call this the wood wide web, a network that lets plants talk without speaking, sharing news of drought, pests, or good soil. You imagine a forest where trees warn each other of danger, like neighbors calling out to stay safe. What warnings do you share with those you care about, keeping your own community strong? This underground web is full of give and take. A big peepal tree, old and wise, might share extra sugars with a young sapling struggling in the shade, like an elder giving bread to a hungry child. The fungi carry these gifts, making sure the forest stays balanced, like a market where everyone trades fairly. Some plants, like orchids in a monsoon forest, depend on fungi to survive. They're tiny seeds, needing the fungi's nutrients to sprout. Others, like a tall tick tree, use the web to compete, taking more water or food to grow stronger, like a shopkeeper claiming the best spot. This mix of helping and competing makes the forest a living community, each plant and fungus playing a part. If you think of your own life, the times you give or take, and how the balance keeps your world steady, the fungi are like quiet postmen, carrying messages faster than you'd expect. A tree attacked by beetles sends a signal through the web, and within hours, nearby trees toughen their leaves, ready for the fight. Scientists have seen this in experiments, watching how a wounded plant's cry travels underground like a whisper, spreading through a crowd. In a dry season, a mango tree might share water with a smaller shrub, the fungi moving droplets along their threads, like buckets passed hand to hand. You imagine standing in a field, the soil alive with these secret talks, each plant listening and answering in its own way. What messages do you send without words, through a look or a touch, to those around you? This network isn't just about survival, it's about connection. A banyan tree in a village square, its roots wide and deep, links dozens of plants, from grasses to young saplings, like a big family sharing one table. The fungi help them trade nutrients, warn of danger, or even share strength, like when a healthy tree supports a sick one, its sugars flowing through the web like a gift. Scientists say this web can stretch across whole forests, connecting trees over hundreds of feet, like a city linked by invisible roads. In a coastal grove, mangroves use fungi to share salt-fighting tricks, helping each other stand strong against the sea. You would think of your own connections, the people who lift you up or lean on you, and see the forest as a mirror of that quiet support. The symbiosis between plants and fungi feels like a dance, slow and graceful. The fungi need the plant's sugars to live, just as plants need the fungi's water and nutrients. Neither could thrive alone, like two friends leaning on each other. In a desert where soil is poor, a cactus leans on fungi to find hidden water, its roots and the fungal threads, working as one. In a monsoon-soaked valley, a rice plant uses fungi to grab extra food, growing taller in muddy fields. This partnership, millions of years old, shows how life depends on sharing, not standing alone. You reflect on your own partnerships, the people you rely on, and how together you're stronger than apart. You stay under the banyan now, its leaves rustling softly, like a gentle song in the evening air. The underground world feels alive, hidden neighborhood where fungi carry messages and gifts, tying plants together in a web of care. The mango trees trade, the guava's warning, the people's help to a sapling, they all show a community, working as one, each part helping the whole. You think of a village market where everyone shares what they have, making life better for all. The fungi, small and unseen, are at the heart of this, their threads like hands holding the forest together. What communities do you build with small acts of giving or listening that make your world stronger? As you lean back, the banyan's shade feels like a soft blanket, wrapping you in calm. The mycorrhizal web, this underground network, is a lesson in connection, showing how even the quietest creatures can hold a forest together. Plants and fungi don't speak, but they listen, share, and help each other. Their symbiosis, a kind of silent love. You're not so different, you and this web, both part of something bigger, tied by invisible threads of care. The guava's warning, the mangoes, sugars, the banyans, support they're all part of a living network. Like the people in your life who share your joys and struggles. What will you notice tomorrow in the quiet connections that hold your world together? Let the fungi's gentle work cradle you, their messages a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where roots talk and soil sings, alive under the stars. You sit now under the wide branches of a peepal tree, its leaves whispering softly in the warm air of a monsoon evening, casting shadows on the soft earth of a village field. Beneath your feet, hidden deep in the soil, a secret network buzzes, with life like an underground internet connecting every tree, shrub, and blade of grass. This web, made of tiny fungal threads, lets plants share food, help their family, and warn each other of danger. It's like a quiet village where everyone looks out for one another. It's called the forest internet, a living system where nutrients flow, kinship thrives, keeping the whole forest strong. Keeping the whole forest strong. You rest your hand on the cool soil, feeling its steady pulse, and the people seems to invite you to listen. There's a whole world talking beneath the ground, full of care and connection. Imagine a big mango tree in an orchard, its roots tangled with thin fungal threads, like strings tying it to every other plant nearby. Through these threads, the mango tree shares sugars, the sweet food it makes from sunlight, sending it to a small sapling struggling in the shade. It's like an elder passing bread to a hungry child, helping the young one grow. Sharing isn't random. The fungi carry nutrients like water, nitrogen, or phosphorus from plants with plenty to those in need. Like neighbors trading goods at a market. In a forest, a tall tick tree might send extra food to a weaker shrub, keeping the whole community healthy. You think of times you've shared with others, maybe giving a friend something small but important, and see how the mango tree does the same, its roots linked in a web of kindness. This forest internet isn't just about food, it's about family. It's a kind of kinship that ties plants together. A mother tree, like an old banyan in a coastal grove, uses the fungal web to send sugars to its own seedlings. It's helping them grow faster, like a parent saving the best for their kids. Scientists have seen this in forests where big trees recognize their own kind through root signals, giving more to their family than to strangers. In a rice field soaked by monsoon rains, rice plants share nutrients with their siblings, making sure the whole patch stays strong. But it's not always gentlesome plants, like a greedy neem tree. Take more than they give, pulling extra water through the fungi to outgrow others, like a shopkeeper claiming the best spot. You reflect on your own family, the ways you support, or sometimes compete, and see the forest as a mirror of those ties rooted deep in the soil. The web also carries warnings, like shouts across a village when trouble comes. Picture a guava tree in a garden, its leaves chewed by beetles. It doesn't stay quiet, it sends a danger signal through its roots, a chemical message that travels along the fungal threads to nearby trees. A jamming tree, connected by the web, gets the warning and starts making bitter leaves to keep beetles away, like it's preparing for a fight. Scientists say these signals can move fast, sometimes in hours, spreading news of bugs, drought, or disease. In a dry season, a mango tree might warn the young people about low water, helping it close its tiny leaf holes to save what's left, like a neighbor calling out to shut the windows before a storm. You think of times you've warned someone you care about, a quick word to keep them safe, and see how the forest does the same. Its messages, silent but strong. This sharing and warning make the forest a living team. In a valley forest, a big tree hit by disease sends nutrients to healthier trees through the web, like it's passing on its strength before it falls. Smaller plants, like grasses, give back by sharing water they find in shallow soil, helping. Taller trees survive dry days. Scientists have watched this in experiments, seeing how trees tagged with special markers pass food to others far away, their roots linked by fungi like roads in a city. In a coastal mangrove swamp, trees share tricks to handle salty water, their roots talking through the web to keep the whole grove standing tall. You imagine your own community, the ways you help or get help, and feel the forest's web as a kind of silent friendship, holding everyone together. The forest internet isn't just about giving nits, about balance. Some plants compete, like a fast-growing weed pulling nutrients away from a slow shrub, using the fungi to get ahead. But even this competition helps the forest, weeding out the weak to make room for the strong. Like a crowded market where only the best stalls thrive. In a monsoon-soaked field, rice plants share just enough to keep their neighbors alive, but not so much they weaken themselves, like a careful balance in a family. Scientists say this web can connect hundreds of plants stretching across a forest like a blanket woven from tiny threads. You think of your own life, the give and take with friends or family, and how the forest's balance feels like your own, keeping things fair and strong. This underground network feels alive, like a heartbeat in the soil. A banyan tree, its roots, wide as a village square, links dozens of plants, from tiny grasses to young saplings, like a big table where everyone shares a meal. The fungi carry sugars, water, and warnings, making sure no one is left alone. In a dry desert patch, a cactus shares nutrients with a small bush, helping it survive the heat, like a neighbor lending a bucket of water. Scientists have found that even dying trees send their last nutrients through the web, like a final gift to the forest, ensuring life goes on. You reflect on your own connections, the small ways you share or warn, and see the forest internet as a lesson in staying together. No matter what, you stay under the people now, its leaves making a gentle rustling, like a soft song in the evening air. The forest internet, this web of fungal threads, is a quiet world of sharing, family, and warnings, tying every plant into one big community. The mangoes, sugars, the guavas, danger call. The banyans care for its seedlings. They all flow through this hidden network, like stories passed in a village. You think of your own world, the people you lean on, the warnings you give or get, and feel part of something bigger, like the plants rooted here. The forest doesn't speak, but it listens, shares, and protects its web, a kind of silent care. What connections do you weave in your own life, keeping your community alive? Let the forest's quiet internet hold you. It signals a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where roots share and soil whispers, alive under the stars. You rest now under the sprawling branches of a banyan tree, its roots twisting like strong arms into the soft earth of a village field. Bathed in the gentle light of a monsoon evening, beneath your feet, hidden deep in the soil, a quiet world hums with connection, where plants live like neighbors in a close-knit community, tied together by tiny fungal threads. This underground network, like an invisible web, builds a family of trees, shrubs, and grasses, where they help each other, share strength, and bounce back from hard times. It's a place of community, cooperation, and resilience, where plants stand stronger together, rooted in relationships that make the whole forest thrive. You touch the cool soil, feeling its steady heartbeat, and the banyan seems to call you closer, inviting you to hear the silent bonds that hold this hidden world together. Picture a mango tree in an orchard, its roots woven with delicate fungal threads, like strings, tying it to every plant nearby. These threads, part of the mycorrhizal network, let the mango share food with a young sapling, struggling in the shade, like a big sister passing fruit to a smaller one. This isn't just giving, it's cooperation, where plants work together to keep the community strong. A big people tree, old and wise, sends extra sugars through the fungi to a weak shrub, helping it grow leaves in a dry season, like a neighbor lending water during a shortage. In a coastal mangrove swamp, trees share nutrients to fight the salty water, each one helping the others stand tall against the waves. You think of your own community, the times you've shared a meal or a kind word, and see how the mango tree does the same. Its roots building a family underground. This network creates a sense of belonging, like a village where everyone knows each other. In a monsoon-soaked forest, a tall teak tree connects to dozens of plants, grasses, ferns, small trees through the fungal web. Like a big gathering where everyone brings something to share. The fungi carry sugars, water, and nutrients from one plant to another, making sure no one goes hungry. A healthy tree might give more to a sick one. It's like a friend helping someone who's feeling low, passing strength through the soil. Scientists have seen this in forests, where plants linked by fungi grow better together, their roots like hands holding each other tight. You imagine your own friendships, the people you lean on, and feel the forest's community as a mirror, where every plant plays a part in the whole. Cooperation shines in tough times, showing how plants help each other survive. Egg in a dry desert patch, a cactus shares water with a small bush through the fungal threads, like passing a bucket in a drought. When a storm tears through a valley, a big banyan sends nutrients to damaged trees, helping them grow new leaves, like neighbors rebuilding a house after a flood. Scientists say this sharing can save whole forests as plants pool their resources to get through heat, cold, or pests. In a rice field, plants connected by fungi grow stronger roots together, standing firm against muddy floods. You think of times you've worked with others to face a challenge, maybe fixing something broken or helping a friend, and see the forest's cooperation as a quiet lesson in sticking together. Resilience is the heart of this underground family. When a guava tree in a garden is attacked by bugs, it sends a warning through the fungal web, and nearby trees respond, making tougher leaves to protect themselves, like a village locking doors after hearing of trouble. This teamwork helps the forest bounce back, staying strong even when things go wrong. In a coastal grove, mangroves hit by salty tides share nutrients to heal, their roots linked like a chain that won't break. Scientists have found that forests with these networks recover faster from fires or droughts because the plants support each other, like a team pulling together after a storm. You reflect on your own strength, the times you've come back from hard days with help from others, and see the forest's resilience as a kind of quiet power rooted deep in connection. The fungal web makes this community possible, acting like a bridge between plants. A single tree can connect to hundreds of others through these threads, like a town square where everyone meets. In a forest, a dying tree might send its last sugars. Two young saplings, like a grandparent passing on their savings, ensuring the next generation grows strong. Smaller plants, like grasses, give back by sharing water from shallow soil, helping big trees survive dry spells, like kids bringing small gifts to the table. This give and take builds a forest that's tough and flexible, able to bend without breaking. You think of your own life, the small ways you give or receive help, and how those acts weave a stronger community, just like the plants underground. Bonds. This rooted relationship isn't always peaceful. Some plants compete, like a fast-growing weed taking extra nutrients through the fungi. It's trying to outshine its neighbors, like a shopkeeper grabbing the best spot in a market. But even this competition helps the forest, making sure only the strongest survive, keeping the community balanced. Scientists say these networks can stretch across whole forests, linking plants over vast distances, like a city connected by invisible roads. In a monsoon field, rice plants shared just enough to help their neighbors, but keep enough to stay healthy, like a careful balance in a family. You think of your own balance, the times you give, but also keep what you need, and see the forest's web as a lesson in living together, strong and fair. You stay under the banyan now, its leaves rustling softly, like a gentle song in the evening air. The underground network, this web of fungal threads, is a world of community, where plants cooperate and show resilience, like a village working as one. The mangoes shared sugars, the guavas warning, the people's help to a sapling day. All flow through this hidden web, like stories passed at a gathering. You think of your own world, the people you support or who lift you up, and feel part of something bigger, like the plants rooted here. The forest doesn't talk, but it cares, its roots tied together in a quiet bond that keeps it alive. What relationships do you build with small acts of help or strength that make your world stronger? Let the forest's hidden community hold you. Its cooperation, a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where roots connect and soil breathes. Live under the stars, you sit now in the warm glow of a monsoon evening, under the shade of a mango tree in a village garden, its leaves catching the soft light of the setting sun. The air feels alive, filled with the quiet hum of plants sensing the world, not with eyes or ears, but with a special kind of knowing that reads the light like a language. Plants don't see like you, but they feel the sun's rays, understand the rhythm of day and night, and know when seasons change by counting the hours of light. This is their way of listening to the world, using tiny sensors in their leaves and stems, following a clock inside them, and noticing how long the days are. It's like a silent conversation with the sun, a way of living that keeps them growing strong. You rest your hand on the cool soil, feeling the garden's gentle pulse, and the mango tree seems to invite you to hear its story of light as a language, spoken without words. Picture a sunflower in a wide field, its bright yellow face turning to follow the sun from dawn to dusk, like a child chasing a kite across the sky. This isn't just moving gets the sunflower understanding light, using special sensors called photoreceptors, like tiny eyes in its cells that feel the sun's warmth and color. These sensors, like helpers in the leaves and stems, catch blue, red, or ultraviolet light, telling the plant where to grow or how to bend. The sunflower twists its stem to face the sun, making sure it gets enough light to make food, a clever choice that keeps it strong. You think of times you turn toward something bright in your life, maybe a happy moment or a warm day, and see how the sunflower does the same. Its face always chasing the light's path. Plants also have a clock inside them, a rhythm that matches the day and night, like a heartbeat keeping time. In a coastal garden, a jasmine bush opens its flowers at dusk, as if it knows the sun has gone down. It's a circadian rhythm, a kind of inner clock that tells it when to open leaves, make food, or rest, even if the sky stays cloudy. Scientists say this clock runs in every plant, from the rice in a muddy field to the neem tree in a village yard, helping them plan their day. At dawn, a mango tree spreads its leaves wide to catch sunlight, like you opening your window in the morning. At night, it slows down, saving energy like you resting after a long day. You wonder what rhythms guide your own days, the quiet habits that keep you moving forward. The length of the day is another language plants understand. In a monsoon forest, a rice plant feels the shorter days of autumn and knows it's time to make flowers, like a farmer checking the calendar for planting season. This is called photoperiodism, where plants count the hours of light to decide when to bloom or grow fruit. A chrysanthemum in a garden waits for long nights to open its petals, while a mustard plant hurries to flower when days are long, each one reading the sun's schedule. Scientists have found that photoreceptors, those tiny light sensors, help plants measure day length like a clock that tracks the seasons. You think of your own life, the way you notice summer's long days or winter's early dark, and see how plants use the same changes to plan their lives. This light language shapes everything plants do. In a desert patch, a cactus tilts its spines toward the morning sun, using its photoreceptors to find the best angle for light, like a sailor steering by the stars. In a shady forest, a small fern stretches its leaves toward a gap in the trees, feeling the light's direction without eyes. Scientists say plants can even tell the difference between sunlight and moonlight, ignoring the moon's faint glow to focus on the sun's strong rays. This careful sensing helps them grow where they're strongest, like you choosing the best path through a busy day. You imagine standing in the sunflower field, watching their faces turn together. A quiet dance with the sun that feels like a kind of wisdom. Plants don't just follow light, they talk back to it. A guava tree in an orchard adjusts its leaves to catch more sun when clouds cover the sky, like you pulling a blanket tighter on a chilly night. Its photoreceptors feel the light's strength, telling the plant to open tiny holes in its leaves for more air or close them to save water. In a coastal grove, mangroves sense the red light of dawn and start making food earlier. It's like a shopkeeper opening early for customers. It's back and forth with light is a conversation, slow and steady, that keeps the plant alive. You think of your own conversations, the quiet ways you respond to the world, okay? And see the plant's light language as a kind of silent talking, full of care and purpose. The forest feels like a community of listeners, each plant reading the light in its own way. A tall teak tree in a valley forest uses its inner clock to time its growth, sprouting new leaves when the days are just right. A tiny weed in a village field feels the long summer days and rushes to make seeds before the season changes. Scientists say these rhythms and light sensing tricks are ancient, going back millions of years, helping plants survive in every corner of the world. In a rice field, plants work together. Their clocks synced to bloom at the same time, making sure bees find them all. You think of your own community, the way you move with others through shared moments, and feel the forest's light language as a kind of togetherness, connecting every leaf and stem. Did you stay under the mango tree now? Its leaves catching the last rays of the evening sun, like a soft song playing in the air. The way plants sense light, follow their inner clocks. And count the hours of the day is a quiet kind of knowing, a language without words that keeps them growing strong. The sunflowers turn, the jasmine's evening bloom, the rice plants, seasonal flowers, They all show a world alive with feeling, even without eyes. You think of your own senses, the way you notice the warmth of the sun or the length of a day, and feel connected to these plants, each one listening to the light in its own way. The garden doesn't speak, but it understands, its leaves reading the sun like a book. What do you notice in your own quiet moments when the world speaks without words? Let the plant's light language hold you, their rhythms a gentle lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves listen and stems dance, alive under the stars. You rest now under the wide branches of a banyan tree, its leaves swaying gently in the warm breeze of a monsoon evening, brushing the soft earth of a village field. The air feels alive, carrying the faint rustle of leaves that seem to sense every touch, every gust, every press of the world around them. Plants don't have hands or skin like you, but they feel the world in their own way, noticing the brush of wind, the weight of a stone, or the nudge of a passing animal. This is their mechanical sensing, a quiet way of knowing that lets them respond to touch and pressure like a silent conversation with the air and earth. You lean against the banyan's rough trunk, your breath slow and calm, and the tree seems to invite you to listen. Its leaves and roots are awake, feeling the world's gentle pushes, bending and growing stronger with every touch. Picture a small plant in a garden, its leaves folding shut when you brush them, like a shy child hiding from a stranger. This is a touch me not, a plant that senses your touch and closes up fast, as if it's protecting itself. Scientists say it feels the pressure through special cells in its leaves, like tiny sensors that notice even the lightest tap. When you touch it, the plant moves water inside its cells to fold its leaves. It's a quick answer to your nudge, like a door shutting softly. In a village yard, kids might giggle as they poke the plant, not knowing it's feeling their fingers and choosing to react. You think of times you've pulled back from a sudden touch, maybe a cold hand or a sharp edge, and see how this plant does the same. Its leaves alive with a quiet kind of knowing. Wind is another touch plants feel, like a constant whisper across their leaves. In a wide field, a rice plant bends in a monsoon breeze, its stems swaying but not breaking, as if it's dancing with the air. Scientists call this thigmotropism, where plants sense the wind's push and grow stronger to stand firm. The rice plant feels the breeze's pressure and builds tougher stems over time, like a person lifting weights to get stronger. In a coastal grove, mangroves face stormy winds, their roots gripping the soil tighter, shaped by years of the sea's rough touch. If you imagine standing in that field, watching the rice sway like a green wave, and think of how you brace yourself against life's challenges, growing tougher with each push. Plants also feel the hard press of stone or soil, like a steady hand guiding their growth. In a rocky desert, a cactus pushes its roots around a boulder, feeling the stone's weight and finding a softer path, like a traveler choosing an easier road. Scientists say plants use their roots to sense pressure, turning away from hard spots or squeezing through cracks, as if they're exploring with invisible fingers. A vine climbing a wall in a village garden feels the rough surface and curls its tendrils tighter, like a child gripping a rope to climb higher. This sensing is in facets slow and careful, the plant testing the world's edges to find its way. If you think of your own careful steps, maybe feeling your way through a tough choice, and see the plant's quiet touch as a kind of wisdom. Even the lightest touch can change a plant's life. In a forest, a bean plant climbing a bamboo stick feels the stick's surface and twists around it, growing stronger with each curl, like a hug that holds tight. Scientists have seen plants like this learn from touch, getting better at climbing over time, as if they remembered the feel of the stick. A mustard plant in a windy field grows shorter and thicker, feeling the constant push of the breeze and adapting to stay strong, like a house built low to withstand storms. This learning from touch makes plants tougher, ready for the next gust or nudge. You reflect on your own growth, the ways you've gotten stronger from life's small pushes, and feel connected to these plants, feeling the world without hands. Plants don't just feel touch, they answer it like a quiet conversation. A guava tree in an orchard senses a caterpillar crawling on its leaves and makes them tougher, as if it say, not so easy. Scientists say this happens because the plant's cells feel the insect's weight, sending signals to build stronger walls, like locking a door after a warning. In a monsoon valley, a fern brushed by falling raindrops tilts its leaves to catch more water. Feeling the drops' gentle press back and forth with the world helps plants survive. Their stems and roots adjusting to every touch, like you shifting your weight to balance on a rocky path. You imagine the forest alive with these quiet answers, each plant feeling and responding in its own way. The forest feels like a community of feelers, each plant sensing the world together. In a village field, rice plants, touched by the same wind, grow stronger as a group, their stems thick and ready for storms, like neighbors building a wall together. A banyan tree, its roots pressed by heavy soil, share space with smaller plants, letting them grow in its shade, like a big family making room for everyone. Scientists say this sensing helps whole forests stay strong as plants feel the same winds or pressures and adapt together like a team working in sync. You think of your own community, the ways you feel the same joys or struggles as others, and see the plant's touch as a kind of shared strength. Holding the forest steady, you stay under the banyan now, its leaves making a soft rustle, like a gentle song in the evening air. The way plants feel, touch, wind, and pressure is a quiet kind of knowing, a language without hands that keeps them growing strong. The touch-me-nots, quick-fold, the rice plants, sturdy sway, the cactuses, careful roots, they all show a world alive with feeling, even without skin or fingers. You think of your own senses, the way you feel a breeze or a friend's hand. Feel connected to these plants, each one touching the world in its own way. The garden doesn't grab or hold, but it understands, its leaves and roots alive with the world's gentle pushes. What do you feel in your own quiet moments when the world touches you without words? Let the plant's silent sensing hold you, their responses a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves feel and roots listen, alive under the stars. You rest now under the gentle shade of a jasmine bush, its flowers glowing white in the soft light of a monsoon evening, filling the air with a sweet scent in a quiet village garden. The world feels alive, humming with a silent music that plants seem to hear, not with ears like yours, but with their leaves, stems, and roots, feeling vibrations and catching whispers of smells in the air. Plants don't listen or sniff like you, but they sense the buzz of a bee, the rustle of wind, or the faint chemical trails of danger, like a secret language carried on the breeze. This is their way of hearing and smelling, a quiet knowing that lets them feel the world's sounds and scents without making a sound. You lean closer to the jasmine, your breath slow and calm, and the bush seems to invite you to listen. Its leaves and roots are awake, catching the world's silent songs and hidden whispers. Picture a mustard plant in a wide field, its leaves trembling as a caterpillar chews nearby, the tiny vibrations like a soft drumbeat on its stems. Plants don't have ears, but they feel these shakes, their cells sensing the movement like a hand feeling a heartbeat. Scientists say this is how plants hear, noticing vibrations from chewing bugs or buzzing bees, like a quiet alarm that wakes them up. The mustard plant feels the caterpillar's munching and makes bitter chemicals to push it away, like locking a door after hearing a strange noise. In a village garden, a bean plant senses the hum of a bee's wings and releases sweet nectar, as if calling the bee closer to pollinate its flowers. You think of times you felt a sound, maybe music vibrating in your chest, and see how the mustard plant does the same. its leaves alive with the world's silent beats. The air carries another kind of whisper sense that plants can sense, like a nose without nostrils. In a coastal forest, a mango tree catches the faint smell of a nearby tree under attack, a chemical signal floating through the air like a warning note. Scientists call these volatile chemicals tiny bits of scent that plants release when bugs or disease strike. The mango tree smells this warning and starts making tough leaves, like a farmer preparing for trouble after hearing bad news. In a rice field, plants sense the sweet scent of their own flowers and bloom together, making sure bees find them all, like a group calling out to a friend. You imagine standing in that field, the air heavy with invisible messages, and think of how you notice smells like rain or cooking that tell you something's coming. Plants even feel sounds you can't hear, like the low hum of life in the soil. In a monsoon valley, a rice plant senses the faint vibrations of water moving underground, its roots turning toward the flow, like a thirsty traveler hearing a stream. Scientists have played sounds to plants in experiments, like the buzz of a bee or the crackle of a storm, and watched them respond, growing faster, making more nectar, or tightening their roots. A guava tree in an orchard feels the shake of a falling fruit nearby and grows stronger branches, as if learning the ground is busy. This isn't hearing like yours, but a kind of soundless sound, where plants feel the world's shakes and tremors. It's like you feeling the wind before you see it move the trees. These vibrations and scents help plants live smarter. In a desert patch, a cactus senses the faint buzz of a moth's wings at night and opens its flowers, like a shopkeeper opening for a late customer. Cells feel the moth's tiny shakes, telling it the right time to bloom. In a village yard, a touch-me-not plant feels the tap of raindrops and closes its leaves, saving energy like you pulling a blanket over your head in a storm. Scientists say plants can tell different vibrations apart, like the chew of a bug versus the brush of a leaf, and choose how to act, maybe making bitter sap or growing thicker stems. You think of your own choices, the way you know a friend's voice or a familiar smell, and see the plant sensing as a kind of quiet wisdom, feeling the world without ears or nose. The forest feels like a choir, each plant listening to its own part of the world's silent song. In a coastal grove, mangroves sense the vibrations of waves crashing nearby and grow deeper roots, holding tight against the tides like neighbors, bracing for a flood. A jasmine bush in a garden catches the scent of a wounded tree and makes stronger flowers, as if joining a team to fight back. Scientists have found that plants in a group respond better to sounds and smells, their roots and leaves working together, like a village sharing news at a gathering. You think of your own community, the way you feel a friend's laugh or smell rain coming, and see the plants sensing as a kind of togetherness, each one adding to the forest's strength. This silent sensing shapes how plants live. A neem tree in a village field smells a chemical warning from a neighbor and makes tougher leaves, like a gatekeeper watching for trouble. A rice plant feels the vibrations of a bee and opens its flowers wider, inviting pollination like a host welcoming a guest. Scientists say these abilities come from millions of years of living in a noisy, smelly world, where plants learn to feel vibrations and scents to survive. In a monsoon forest, trees sense the distant rumble of thunder through the soil and close their leaf holes, saving water for the storm, like you shutting windows before rain. You imagine the garden alive with these quiet conversations, each plant feeling the world's shakes and smells, answering in its own way. You stay under the jasmine bush now, its flowers glowing softly like a gentle song in the evening air. The way plants feel vibrations and scents, their soundless sound and chemical whispers, is a quiet kind of knowing, a language without ears or noses that keeps them alive. The mustard plant's bug defense, the mango's warning response, the jasmine's nectar, call they all show a world awake with feeling, even without senses like yours. You think of your own feelings, the way you notice a breeze's hum or a flower smell, can feel connected to these plants, each one listening to the world in its own way. The garden doesn't hear or sniff, but it understands its leaves and roots alive with the world's silent music. What do you feel in your own quiet moments when the world speaks without words? Let the plant's silent sensing hold you. Their whispers, a soft lullaby, is carrying you into dreams where leaves listen and roots hum, alive under the stars. You sit now under a mango tree, its green leaves glowing in the warm light of a village. Morning casting soft shadows on the earth. The air feels alive, as if the tree is catching sunlight and turning it into life, like a cook making food from a spark. Plants don't eat like you, but they make their own food using sunlight, a green helper called chlorophyll, and a quiet process called photosynthesis. You rest your hand on the cool soil, feeling the tree's gentle pulse, and it seems to call you to follow a sunbeam's journey from light to life in every leaf. Imagine a rice plant in a field, its leaves open like hands grabbing sunlight. The light is caught by chlorophyll, the green stuff in leaves, like tiny traps soaking up the sun's energy. This happens in small parts of the leaf, like little rooms where the light's power wakes up, sparking a change. The rice plant mixes this energy with water from the soil and air from the sky, making sugar to grow strong. You think of how a sunny day lifts your energy and see the rice plant doing the same, turning a sunbeam into food. When light hits a leaf, like a knock on a door, chlorophyll grabs it, especially red and blue light, which is why leaves look green. In a coastal mangrove, leaves catch morning sun, passing energy through tiny chains in their cells, like kids passing a ball. This energy splits water into oxygen, which you breathe, and helps make sugar, feeding the plant's roots and fruits. A guava tree in a garden uses this sugar to grow sweet fruit, storing extra as starch, like saving food for later. Scientists say this process, called photosynthesis, is like a kitchen where sunlight, water, and air bake life. The mango tree shares its sugar with fungi underground, like a neighbor giving bread, keeping the forest alive. In a desert, a cactus catches harsh sunlight, its chlorophyll working slowly to make just enough food to survive, like a careful cook. Every plant, from rice to jasmine, joins this dance, catching light to feed itself and the world. You stay under the mango tree, its leaves shining like a quiet song. Photosynthesis is a gentle magic, turning sunbeams into life with chlorophyll's help. The rice plants, sugar, the mangrove's oxygen, the guava's fruit, they show a world alive with light's power. You think of your own strength, how sunlight or food lifts you, and feel tied to these plants, catching light to live. What energy do you catch in your quiet moments? Let the plant's silent work cradle you, their light a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves glow and sunbeams sing. You sit now under a neem tree, its leaves rustling softly in the warm breeze of a monsoon evening, casting gentle shadows on the village field below. The air feels fresh, alive with the quiet work of plants breathing for the earth, taking in carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen in a steady balance that keeps life going. Plants don't breathe like you, but they use photosynthesis to pull in the air's carbon, release oxygen for you to breathe, and keep the world in harmony, like a slow dance with the sky. You rest your hand on the cool soil, feeling the tree's calm rhythm, and it seems to invite you to follow its breath, a story of balance woven into every leaf. Picture a rice plant in a muddy field, its leaves open like tiny mouths, sipping carbon dioxide from the air. Through photosynthesis, the plant traps this gas, mixing it with water and sunlight to make sugar. It's food for growth. As it works, the rice plant releases oxygen, a gift that fills the air, letting you breathe easy. Scientists say This process cleans the air, pulling carbon dioxide away to slow down the Earth's warming, like a gardener sweeping dust from a path. You think of how you exhale, what plants need, and inhale what they give, a shared breath connecting you to the rice. In a coastal mangrove grove, trees suck in carbon dioxide, locking it into their wood and leaves, like storing treasures in a chest. This keeps the air balanced, making sure there's not too much carbon to heat the world. A guava tree in a garden breathes out oxygen while making sweet fruit, its leaves working like tiny factories to keep life steady. Scientists say plants release enough oxygen to fill the air for every animal and person, a gift that ties the forest to you. In a desert, a cactus takes in carbon slowly, saving water but still balancing the air. Like a careful cook measuring ingredients, this balance isn't just for plants, it's for everyone, from the smallest bug to the tallest tree. You imagine a monsoon forest, its trees breathing together, their leaves catching carbon and giving oxygen, like a choir singing in harmony. Every plant, from neem to jasmine, joins this work, keeping the earth's air just right, like a family, sharing a meal to stay strong. You stay under the neem tree, its leaves swaying like a gentle song. Photosynthesis is a quiet magic, capturing carbon, releasing oxygen, and balancing life. The rice plant's breath, the mangrove's carbon store, the guava's oxygen gift, they show a world alive with harmony. You think of your own breath tied to these plants and feel their balance in your lungs. What do you give back to the world's rhythm? Let the plant's silent breath hold you, their balance a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves breathe and air sings. You lie back in the soft grass of a village garden, the evening air heavy with the scent of jasmine flowers, their petals glowing under the fading monsoon light. Around you, plants stand like quiet warriors, using secret chemical tricks to protect themselves from bugs, animals, and disease. They don't fight with claws or teeth, but with toxins, repellents, and signals, like a hidden army sending messages and setting traps. This is their chemical warfare, a silent battle that keeps them safe in a world full of threats. You breathe in the warm air, feeling the garden's strength, and it pulls you into a story of survival where every leaf holds a clever defense. Picture a neem tree in a dusty field, its leaves bitter with toxins that make bugs spit and turn away, like a cook adding too much spice to keep pests out. These chemicals, made deep in the plant's cells, act like poison to invaders, stopping caterpillars from eating or germs from spreading. In a coastal grove, a mangrove tree releases a sharp smell when bugs attack, a repellent that drives them off like a warning shout. Scientists say these chemicals are like a plant's shield, keeping it safe without moving an inch. You think of times you've pushed back against trouble, maybe with a sharp word or a quick step, and see the neem's bitter defense as its own kind of strength. Plants also send signals, like whispers in the air, to warn others. Guava tree, in an orchard, chewed by beetles, releases a chemical scent that nearby trees smell, making their own leaves tougher, like neighbors locking doors after hearing danger. In a rice field, a plant under attack sends signals through its roots, telling others to make bitter sap, like a team getting ready for a fight. Scientists call this a defense network, where plants share warnings to stay strong together. You imagine the garden as a village, each plant helping the next, and think of your own warnings, maybe a call to a friend in need. This chemical warfare isn't just about fighting, it's about balance. A cactus in a desert makes mild toxins to deter small bugs, but not harm helpful bees, like a careful guard, choosing battles wisely. In a monsoon forest, a tick tree's chemicals stop fungi but feed friendly microbes in the soil, keeping the ground healthy. You lie in the grass, the jasmine's scent wrapping you like a soft blanket. These plants, with their toxins, repellents, and signals, fight a quiet war, protecting themselves and their neighbors. The neem's bitterness, the mangrove's sharp smell, the guava's warning, they show a world alive with clever defenses. If you think of your own strength, how you protect what matters, and feel tied to these plants, guarding their lives. What battles do you fight quietly? Let the plant's chemical warfare hold you. Their signals, a gentle lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves fight and roots whisper. You wander through a quiet garden, the evening air soft with the glow of jasmine flowers, their delicate petals catching the last light of a monsoon sunset. Beneath the surface, plants hum with a hidden language, not spoken with words, but carried by tiny signals called hormones, like gentle whispers, guiding their lives. These hormones are the plant's inner messengers, telling it when to grow, bloom, or fight danger, like a quiet voice inside you that knows when to rest or run. This is the language within, a system that helps plants live and thrive, from roots to leaves, in a world full of change. You pause by a jasmine bush, feeling its calm strength, and it draws you into a story of silent signals shaping every plant. Picture a rice plant in a muddy field, its stem stretching tall because a hormone called auxin tells it to reach for sunlight. It's like a child standing on tiptoes to see over a wall. Another hormone, gibberellin, whispers to a guava tree in an orchard, urging it to sprout new leaves or ripen sweet fruit, like a cook adding spice to finish a dish. Scientists say hormones are like instructions, moving through the plant's veins to guide its growth. It's from opening flowers to strengthening roots. You think of your own instincts, the quiet urges that push you to act, and see the rice plant's hormones as its own kind of knowing. In a coastal mangrove grove, a hormone called abscisic acid tells the tree to close its leaf holes during a dry spell, saving water like you shutting a window in a storm. When bugs attack a neem tree, a hormone called jasminate sparks a defense, making bitter leaves to push pests away, like a guard raising a shield. These signals work together, balancing growth and survival, like a family planning a day's tasks. In a village field, a mustard plant's hormones tell it to bloom when days grow long, while a cactus in a desert uses them to store water, staying strong in harsh heat. Scientists say these hormones are ancient, helping plants adapt for millions of years, like old wisdom passed down. You imagine a garden as a choir, each plant's hormones singing a soft tune, guiding roots to water or leaves to light, like friends helping each other through a tough day. You linger by the jasmine, its flowers swaying like a gentle song. The language within these hormones is a quiet system, steering plants to grow, defend, and live. The rice's stretch, the guava's fruit, the neem's defense, they show a world alive with inner whispers. You think of your own quiet urges, guiding you without words, and feel tied to these plants, living by their silent signals. What whispers guide your own path? Let the plant's gentle hormones hold you, their signals a soft lullaby. It's carrying you into dreams where leaves listen and roots sing. You stand quietly in a rice field. It's the morning sun warming the green stalks that sway like dancers in a gentle breeze, their tips reaching for light in a village bathed by monsoon glow. Plants grow with a graceful rhythm, guided by tiny signals called hormones, like soft whispers telling them how to stretch, bloom, and thrive. To hormones, auxins, and gibberellins act like gentle leaders, helping plants grow longer cells and open flowers, shaping their lives with care. This is their growth and grace, a silent dance that makes leaves reach high and petals unfold. Watch the rice sway, feeling its quiet strength, and it pulls you into a story of hormones shaping life. Picture a mango tree in an orchard, its branches stretching toward sunlight because auxin, a hormone, tells its cells to grow long, like a child stretching to reach a high shelf. Auxin moves to the shady side of the stem, making those cells stretch more, bending the branch toward light, like a painter tilting a canvas to catch the sun. In a village garden, Gabrielin whispers to a jasmine bush, urging its buds to swell into flowers, like a baker kneading dough to rise. Tis say, Gabrielins help cells grow big and trigger flowering, turning green buds into bright petals. You think of times you've reached for something better, maybe a goal or a dream, and see the mangoes stretch as its own kind of hope. A rice plant uses oxen to push its roots deeper into muddy soil, finding water, while gibberellin helps its seeds sprout like a spark waking a sleeping child. In a coastal grove, a mangrove's gibberellins make its leaves grow wide, catching more sun, while oxen guides its roots around rocks like a traveler finding a path. Scientists say these hormones work together, balancing growth so plants don't stretch too far or bloom too soon, like a careful dance, keeping everything in step. In a desert, a cactus grows slowly, its oxen shaping short, thick arms to save water, while gibberellin waits for rare rain to spark new growth. You imagine the field as a stage, each plant moving with grace, its hormones like music guiding every step. You stand in the rice field, the stalks glowing like a soft song. Oxens and gibberellins, the plants, gentle whispers, shape growth and flowering, turning cells long and buds bright. The mangoes reach, the jasmines bloom, the rice's deep roots, they show a world alive with graceful growth. You think of your own growth, the quiet pushes that shape your days, and feel tied to these plants, dancing with their inner signals. What guides your own steps forward? Let the plants' graceful growth hold you. Their hormones, a gentle lullaby, is carrying you into dreams where leaves stretch and flowers sing. You kneel beside a guava tree in a quiet orchard, the evening air cool with the scent of ripe fruit, glowing softly under a monsoon sky. Plants live by a hidden language, carried by tiny signals called hormones, like gentle whispers that help them face tough times and grow old gracefully. Two hormones, ethylene and abscisic acid, guide them through stress and aging, telling them when to drop leaves, ripen fruit, or save energy. Like a wise elder giving advice, this is their way of being guided by signals, a quiet system that keeps them strong in a changing world. You touch the guava's rough bark, feeling its steady life, and it draws you into a story of hormones steering through hardship. Picture a mango tree in a dry field, its leaves curling as abscisic acid whispers to close tiny holes, saving water during a drought, like you shutting a door to keep out heat. Ethylene tells a guava to ripen its fruit, turning it sweet and soft, like a cook knowing the perfect time to serve a dish. Scientists say ethylene helps plants age, dropping old leaves to save energy, while abscisic acid guards against stress, like bugs or heat, by slowing growth. You think of times you've saved strength for tough days, and see the mango's careful pause as its own kind of wisdom. In a coastal grove, a mangrove uses abscisic acid to tighten its roots against salty tides, standing firm like a sailor bracing for waves. Ethylene signals a rice plant to drop its seeds when rain is scarce, ensuring new life, like a parent letting go for the future. Scientists say these hormones balance stress and aging, helping plants survive floods, pests, or dry spells, like a family planning through hard times. In a village garden, a jasmine bush drops wilted flowers as ethylene guides it to focus on new buds, while abscisic acid helps it rest during a hot day, like a nap to recharge. You imagine the orchard as a wise counsel, each plant's hormones whispering advice, guiding roots to endure and fruits to ripen. You kneel by the guava tree, its fruit glowing like a soft song. Quisic acid, the plant's gentle signals, steer it through stress and aging, keeping it alive. The mangoes, water saving, the rice's seed drop, the jasmines, rest, they show a world guided by quiet wisdom. If you think of your own moments, when you face hardship or let go, and feel tied to these plants, living by their inner signals. What guides you through tough times? Let the plant's silent signals hold you, their whispers a gentle lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves endure and fruits ripen. You stroll through a village field. The evening air, soft with the sharp scent of neem leaves, their green tips glowing under a fading monsoon sky. Plants talk without voices, sending silent signals through the air and soil, like whispers warning of danger. When a leaf is hurt, it cries for help, releasing tiny smells, called volatile organic compounds, like a quiet shout to nearby plants. These distress signals tell others to get ready, protecting the whole garden like a team watching out for each other. You pause by a neem tree, feeling its steady life, and it pulls you into a story of silent cries that keep plants safe. Picture a guava tree in an orchard, its leaves chewed by bugs, sending out a sharp scent like a warning bell. This smell, a mix of tiny chemicals, floats through the air, and a nearby mango tree catches it, making bitter leaves to push bugs away, like a neighbor locking a gate after hearing trouble. Scientists say these volatile organic compounds act like a plant's call for help, spreading fast to warn others in minutes. You think of times you've warned a friend, maybe a quick shout or a nudge, and see the guava scent as its own kind of care. In a rice field, a plant under attack releases a chemical signal through its roots, telling others to make tough leaves, like a message passed underground. A jasmine bush in a garden smells a wounded neighbor's cry and strengthens its flowers, like a shopkeeper guarding a store. Scientists say these signals can even call helpful insects, like wasps, to eat the bugs attacking the plant. It's like calling a friend for backup. In a coastal mangrove grove, a tree sends a distress scent when salty waves hit, warning others to save water, like a sailor signaling a storm. This silent talk isn't just about dangers, about community, keeping plants connected like a family sharing news. A cactus in a desert releases a faint smell to warn nearby plants of drought, helping them store water like a careful planner. You imagine the field as a quiet village, each plant's chemical cry a whisper, linking them in a web of care. You stand by the neem tree, its leaves swaying like a soft song. These volatile compounds, the leaves cry for help, show a world alive with silent signals, a guava's warning, the mango's defense, the jasmine's strength they weave, a garden of shared protection. You think of your own calls for help, how you reach out in tough times and feel tied to these plants, talking without words. What warnings do you share to keep your world safe? Let the plant's silent cries hold you, their signals a gentle lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves whisper and air carries care. You lean against a mango tree in a quiet orchard, the evening air rich with the sweet scent of ripening fruit, glowing softly under a monsoon twilight. Plants speak without words, sending silent warnings through the air, like neighbors calling out to protect each other. When danger strikes, they release tiny smells, called volatile organic compounds, that float like whispers, telling the forest to get ready. This airborne communication builds a shared defense, linking plants in a web of care to fight bugs or disease. You feel the mango tree's steady warmth, and it pulls you into a story of silent signals saving the forest. Imagine a guava tree in the orchard, its leaves bitten by beetles, sending a sharp scent into the breeze. This smell drifts to a nearby neem tree, which catches it and makes bitter leaves like a guard raising a shield. Scientists say these chemical signals travel fast, warning other plants in minutes to toughen up or make poisons. You think of times you've shared a warning, maybe a quick call to a friend, and see the guava scent as its own kind of teamwork. In a coastal mangrove grove, a tree hit by salty waves releases a chemical cry. It's floating through the air to tell others to save water, like a sailor shouting about a storm. A rice plant in a muddy field smells a neighbor's warning and calls helpful wasps to eat attacking bugs, like asking a friend for help. Scientists say this shared defense makes forests stronger as plants work together, like a village locking doors after bad news. In a village garden, a jasmine bush catches a wounded tree's scent and strengthens its flowers, protecting them from pests, like a shopkeeper guarding a store. Even a desert cactus sends faint airborne signals to warn nearby plants of drought, helping them store water, like a careful planner sharing tips. You imagine the orchard as a whispering community, each plant's chemical message tying it to the next, building a forest that stands firm. You lean on the mango tree, its leaves swaying like a gentle song. These airborne signals, the forest's warnings, show a world alive with shared care. The guava's cry, the neem's defense, the jasmine's strength, they weave a web of protection. You think of your own warnings, how you help others in tough times, and feel tied to these plants, talking through the air. What signals do you send to keep your world safe? Let the plant's silent warnings hold you, their whispers, a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves talk and breezes carry care. You crouch beside a banyan tree in a quiet grove, the evening air cool with the damp scent of monsoon soil, its roots weaving through the earth like threads of a hidden story. Plants talk silently below the ground, sending chemical messages through the soil like secret notes passed between neighbors. These invisible dialogues, carried by tiny signals and a trick called allelopathy. Let plants listen and respond, sharing warnings or claiming space. This underground chatter builds a community, keeping the forest strong. You press your fingers into the soft earth, feeling its quiet life, and it draws you into a tale of plants whispering through the soil. Imagine a rice plant in a muddy field, its roots sending a chemical signal when bugs attack, like a quiet cry for help. This message travels through the soil, and a nearby neem tree listens, making bitter leaves to keep pests away, like a friend, heeding a warning. The scientists say these soil signals, often carried by fungi, connect plants like a hidden network, sharing news of danger or drought. You think of times you've shared a quiet tip with someone close and see the rice plants signal as its own kind of care. In a village field, a walnut tree uses allelopathy, releasing chemicals into the soil to stop other plants from growing too close, like a shopkeeper claiming a spot in a market. These chemicals act like a fence, giving the walnut space to thrive. In a coastal mangrove grove, a tree sends root signals to share water-saving tips during salty tides, like a sailor passing advice before a storm. Scientists say plants listen to these chemical messages, adjusting their growth or defenses, like a village staying alert together. A jasmine bush in a garden catches a neighbor's soil signal and strengthens its roots, while a desert cactus sends a faint chemical note to warn others of dry times, like a planner sharing survival tips. You imagine the grove as a silent council, each plant's root signals weaving a web of care and competition. How you crouch by the banyan, its roots humming like a gentle song. These invisible dialogues through soil messages and allelopathy show a world alive with chemical listening. The rice's warning, the walnut's fence, the mangrove's teamwork, they knit a forest of shared whispers. You think of your own quiet exchanges, how you listen or claim space and feel tied to these plants, talking through the earth. What messages do you share in your silent moments? Let the plants' underground dialogues hold you, their whispers a soft lullaby. It's carrying you into dreams where roots talk and soil sings. You rest your back against a sturdy teak tree in a village grove, the evening air soft with the hum of monsoon crickets, its rough bark warm under the fading light. Plants can't run from danger, but they stand firm, fighting back with spines, thorns, and tough skin, like silent warriors guarding their place. These defenses, sharp and strong, keep bugs, animals, and harsh weather at bay, letting plants survive without taking a step. You trace the teak's rugged trunk, feeling its quiet strength, and it pulls you into a story of standing still to fight. Picture a cactus in a desert patch, its spines sharp like needles, pricking any animal that dares to bite, like a fence keeping a thief out. These spines, hard and pointed, grow from the cactus's skin, stopping hungry goats or birds from eating its stored water. In a village garden, a rose bush bristles with thorns, each one a tiny spear that warns grazing cows to stay away, like a guard waving a stick. Scientists say these defenses are like armor made over years to protect plants from harm. You think of times you've stood your ground, maybe with a firm word or a steady look, and see the cactus's spines as its own kind of courage. In a coastal grove, a mangrove's tough, leathery leaves resist salty winds, like a sailor's coat against a storm. A neem tree in a field grows thick bark, hard as a shield, to block bugs or dry heat, standing tall without moving. Scientists say this toughness comes from special cells that make plant skin strong, like a wall around a home. In a rice field, stalks grow hard to stand against monsoon floods, while the desert shrubs' spiky tips deter nibbling animals like a shopkeeper shooing pests. These defenses aren't just for fighting, they build a balance, letting plants share space with helpful creatures like bees while keeping enemies out. You imagine the grove as a quiet army, each plant's spines and toughness a shield holding its ground. You lean on the tick, its bark steady like a gentle song. Spines, thorns, and tough skin show a world alive with still strength, protecting plants without a step. It's cactuses, needles, the roses, thorns, the mangroves, leathery leaves, they with a story of standing firm. You think of your own moments of strength, holding steady in tough times, and feel tied to these plants, fighting without fleeing. What helps you stand strong when danger comes? Let the plant's quiet defenses hold you, their toughness a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves stand firm and thorns guard the night. You pause in a jasmine garden, the evening air sweet with blooming flowers, their delicate petals shimmering under a monsoon moon. Plants can't run from danger, but they use clever chemical tricks like secret weapons to fool and fight enemies with toxins, mimicry, and confusion. These defenses, hidden in leaves and sap, keep bugs and animals away, letting plants stand strong without moving. You breathe in the jasmine's fragrance, feeling its quiet power, and it draws you into a story of chemical trickery guarding the garden. Picture a neem tree in a village field, its leaves filled with bitter toxins that make bugs sick, like a cook adding sour juice to spoil a thief's meal. These toxins, made deep in the plant, stop caterpillars from eating or germs from spreading, like a lock on a door. In a forest, a wild vine mimics the look of a harmless plant, but releases a sharp chemical when touched, confusing beetles into leaving, like a disguise fooling a stranger. Scientists say these chemical tricks are like a plant's magic, outsmarting enemies without a fight. You think of times you've avoided trouble with a clever move, and see the neem's bitterness as its own kind of wit. In a coastal mangrove grove, a tree sends out a scent that mimics a bug's own signal, tricking pests into flying away, like a false sign misguiding a traveler. A rice plant in a muddy field makes a toxin that only harms certain bugs, leaving helpful bees safe, like a careful guard picking its target. Scientists say some plants even release chemicals to confuse animals, making them dizzy or sleepy, like a trap set in the air. In a desert, a cactus hides a bitter sap that surprises grazing animals, while a jasmine bush's sweet scent hides tiny toxins to deter nibbling insects, like a gift with a hidden sting. You imagine the garden as a clever troupe, each plant's toxins and mimicry a trick to keep enemies guessing. You linger in the jasmine garden, its flowers glowing like a gentle song. These chemical tricks with toxins and mimicry show a world alive with silent cunning. The neem's bitter defense, the vine's disguise, the mangrove's false signal, they weave a web of deception. You think of your own clever ways, how you sidestep problems and feel tied to these plants, outsmarting danger without running. What tricks do you use to stay safe? Let the plant's chemical trickery hold you, their cunning a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves deceive and scents guard the night. You sit, cross-legged, in a rice field, the evening air alive, with the rustle of green stalks, their tips swaying under a monsoon sky's fading glow. Plants are silent strategists, timing their defenses and growing alongside animals in a dance of survival, their strength wrapped in mystery. They don't move, but they plan, using clever timing and shared history with creatures to stay safe. Like wise elders guarding secrets, you feel the field's quiet pulse, and it pulls you into a story of plants outsmarting danger with grace and enigma. Picture a neem tree in a village grove, waiting for dusk to release bitter sap when bugs are most active, like a guard striking at the perfect moment. This timing, guided by its inner clock, saves energy and hits pests hard, in a coastal mangrove. Leaves grow tough just before stormy seasons, like a sailor bracing for waves. Scientists say plants time their defenses to match threats, like a farmer planting before rain. You think of times you've chosen the right moment to act and see the neem's timing as its own kind of wisdom. Plants also co-evolve, shaping their lives with animals over ages. A jasmine bush in a garden makes sweet flowers to lure bees, but its thorns keep grazing goats away. A balance learned through years of living together, like neighbors finding harmony. In a desert, a cactus's spines match the nibbling habits of local animals, while its nectar suits a bat's tongue, like a deal struck long ago. Scientists say this coevolution ties plants and creatures in a delicate dance, each shaping the other. In a rice field, plants release scents to call wasps when bugs attack, a partnership built over time, like friends helping each other. This silent strategy hides a strength that feels mysterious, as plants seem to know their world without eyes or ears. A banyan tree drops leaves to confuse pests at just the right time, its motives unclear, like a riddle whispered in the wind. You imagine the field as a council of strategists, each plant's timing in partnerships weaving a web of survival. You sit in the rice field, the stalks glowing like a quiet song. These silent strategists, with their timed defenses and coevolution, show a world alive with strength and mystery. The neem's sap, the jasmine's thorns, the cactus's nectar, they weave a tale of clever survival. You think of your own plans, how you face challenges with timing and feel tied to these plants, strong yet mysterious. What secrets guide your own strength? Let the plant's silent strategies hold you, their mystery a soft lullaby, carrying you into dreams where leaves plan and roots whisper strength. You lie on a woven mat under a mango grove, the evening air soft with the hum of crickets, the leaves above whispering in the monsoon breeze. The journey through the plant world has unfolded like a dream, revealing how plants live, feel, and fight without moving, their silent wisdom weaving a story that now finds its end. You've seen plants sense light with tiny sensors, turning sunbeams into food through photosynthesis, their green engine feeding the earth with sugar and oxygen. In rice fields, they stretch toward the sun, guided by hormones like auxin and gibberellin whispering growth and grace, while ethylene helps them ripen or rest, like elders facing time's trials. In village gardens, plants talk through air and soil, sending scent warnings to fend off bugs, their chemical cries and root messages knitting a forest family. In the trees, thorns, and the cactus's spines stand firm, while toxins and mimicry trick enemies, showing plants as clever strategists who survive without running. You think of a jasmine bush, its flowers glowing under the moon, using silent signals to call bees or warn neighbors, a quiet strength that holds the world together. Each leaf, root, and petal tells a tale of life sensing light, breathing air, growing tall, talking silently, and defending with cunning. Scientists say plants have done this for ages. Their invisible work, balancing the air you breathe, feeding birds, bugs, and you, like a hidden choir, singing life's song. You feel the grove's calm pulse, its leaves catching the last light, and see how plants, though still, are alive with purpose, their mysteries deeper than words. The rices stretch, the mangroves, tough leaves. The banyon's root whispers, they've taught you that life hums in silence, strong in stillness. You think of your own quiet moments, how you sense, grow, and stand firm, and feel tied to these plants, partners in a world of wonder. The sleepy sailor's tale ends here, but the plants keep whispering, their light catching, signals sending, teeped, defense weaving ways, a gift that never fades. As you lie under the mango tree, the stars peeking through its leaves, you wonder, what silent strengths do you carry, what unseen signals guide your days? The plant story lingers, a gentle mystery, like a lullaby from the earth itself. Let their quiet wisdom cradle you, their unseen dance a soft song, carrying you into dreams, where leaves breathe, roots talk, and the world hums with life's secret beauty, forever alive under the sky.